Dragon Ball, I can become stronger if I am killed. Chapter 81. After a while, the two of them were in a state of panic. Tagma adjusted his state and kicked Kale. Kale endured the severe pain and waved his fist to attack Tagma again. HMPH. You don't know your own strength. Tagma snorted coldly. He dared to fight me in close combat. I have been professionally trained by King Frieza. Bang, bang, bang. Neither of them was convinced by the other. They didn't care whether they were injured or not, and kept attacking each other. Tagma, this idiot, will lose soon. Broly is also a legendary Super Saiyan, so he naturally understands the horror of the giant ape transformation. What do you mean? Frieza was a little confused. Tagma's strength was so much stronger than that person, how could he lose? Frieza, this transformation can become stronger through fighting. As long as Kale's body can withstand the burst of energy, it won't take long for him to surpass Tagma. Ling Tian explained. Frieza's face turned ugly when he heard it. Saiyans actually have this way to enhance their strength. Then he turned his head and yelled at Tagma on the ring. Tagma, get rid of her quickly. She can become stronger through fighting. Yes, King Frieza. Tagma used all his strength and kicked Kale's abdomen hard. Ah! Kale arched into a shrimp shape and flew backwards. I promised my sister that I can't lose. Kale shouted, quickly stabilized his body in the air, and attacked Tagma again. That's right, that's it. Champa waved his pig-like hands and cheered for Kale. You didn't fall off the ring. Then let's do it again. Tagma and Kale met in midair. Every time Tagma attacked Kale would fly backwards, but the distance had changed significantly. How is it possible? This King Kong Barbie is so tenacious. No, we have to get rid of her quickly. Tagma then condensed a red Qigong wave in his hand and blasted it towards Kale. Seeing this, Kale also condensed energy in his hand to resist. The two energies collided in midair, and it was impossible to tell the winner for a while. Ah! Tagma shouted, and the aura on his body increased again, and the Qigong wave pressed towards Kale one-sidedly. Boom! Accompanied by a violent explosion, Kale fell to the ring with tattered clothes and wounds all over his body. Tagma thought he had won, so he said loudly to the host. Hurry up and announce the result of the match. I haven't lost yet. Kale soared into the sky, and a green energy enveloped her whole body. Explosive gas bomb. Kale shouted, emitting energy bombs in all directions with self-centeredness. Whis and Bardos took out their staffs and waved them to block the energy bombs flying towards the audience. Tagma used energy to condense a protective shield on his body and quickly rushed towards Kale in the air. Unexpectedly, before he could attack, he was hit by a heavy punch from Kale. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, a huge deep pit was smashed into the ring. It's over, her strength has surpassed mine. Tagma couldn't believe that King Kong Barbie's strength would increase so quickly, and an ominous premonition came to his mind. Without waiting for Tagma to get up from the ground, Kale appeared in the deep pit, stretched out his big hand, grabbed Tagma's head and pressed it to the ground and rubbed it. Ah! Ah! Tagma tried her best but couldn't break free, and could only scream. After a while, Kale pressed Tagma's head and plowed around the ring again and again. After a while, it was completely impossible to tell that the two were standing on a fighting ring. Broly, isn't this your trick? Cell said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Broly responded with a smile. Maybe everyone with super blood will use this trick. A girl's fight is so violent. Bulma and Chi-Chi covered their eyes, unable to bear to watch any more. Kale seemed to be tired of playing, so he threw Tagma into the air, and then condensed a Qigong wave in his hand. Boom! Tagma was hit head-on by the Qigong wave and flew towards the audience seats of the 7th universe. Frieza dodged and instantly appeared beside Tagma and caught him. Whis took out his staff and waved it, and Tagma's injuries were instantly healed. Tagma, Ma said to Frieza dejectedly. King Frieza, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Tagma, you can't be blamed for this. That person's strength has improved too fast. Watch me fight. See how I will avenge you. Frieza showed a sinister smile on his face, and his figure flashed and appeared on the ring in an instant. Tagma stood there motionless, thinking that he would be scolded if not beaten, and he never thought that King Frieza would care about him. Bardos appeared on the ring in a flash, trying to repair the damaged ring. My beautiful lady, there is no need to bother. Even if the ring is repaired, it will be damaged. It is better to lose the ability to fight and lose. What do you think? Frieza seemed polite, but in fact he was thinking that if there is no ring, I will beat you to death. You dare to bully my only subordinate, you will all pay the price. Frieza, your suggestion is very good. The ring really restricts the player's strength. Beerus nodded with satisfaction. Lord Champa, what do you think? Vados asked. With players who can improve their combat effectiveness, wouldn't they be invincible without the ring? Champa couldn't help getting excited, and then said with a smile. Since Skinny Ribs agrees, let's do it. Vados left the ring after hearing this and appeared in the audience of the 6th universe. Both players are in place, so the 5th game starts now. With the host's order, "Ha!" Frieza shouted loudly, his breath continued to increase, and golden light emerged from his body. The dazzling light forced everyone present to close their eyes. The light dissipated, and Frieza's originally white skin turned golden, and his body was wrapped in golden flames. Frieza successfully transformed into Golden Frieza. How is it possible? Everyone in the audience of the 6th universe was shocked. Is this kind of strength something that humans can achieve? Frost's body couldn't stop shaking. Even Hit, who had been watching the show calmly, couldn't sit still anymore, and his face showed a solemn look. Skinny Ribs, are you sure this person is from your universe? Could it be that you found a helper from another universe? Champa looked unconvinced. Beerus, this guy, has been sleeping all year round and not managing the universe. How could a human with this kind of strength appear in his universe? Humph. Beerus snorted coldly and ignored Champa. This guy must be afraid of losing the game, and now he is starting to find all kinds of excuses. Lord Champa, this Mr. Frieza is indeed from our universe. Whis responded with a smile. Champa couldn't say anything after hearing this. Whis would not deceive him for a little human. Ho ho ho, Frieza said with a smile. Are you ready for my attack? Kale overcame his fear and appeared in front of Frieza in an instant, swinging his fist and striking at him. The two of them were so fast that they could not fly. Kyle's lightning speed made him look like an ordinary person in Frieza's eyes. Frieza leaned back slightly and dodged the attack easily, punching Kale in the abdomen with his backhand. Ah! Kyle spit out blood and flew backwards in a shrimp shape. Kyle quickly stabilized his body in the air, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his hand, and attacked Frieza again. Frieza raised the corner of his mouth slightly, raised his right hand and gathered energy. Flame wave, Frieza shouted, and pieces of flames shot out from his hand continuously. Ah! Kale was swallowed by the flames before he could avoid it, and could only scream. Frieza's figure flashed, and he stretched out his big hand into the smoke, grabbing the wounded Kale out. Then, Frieza hit Kale's abdomen hard with his knee. Ah! Ah! Kale was hit in the abdomen by Frieza continuously, and he didn't know how many ribs were broken, and could only wail in pain. Frieza showed an endless smile on his face and mocked. What's wrong with you? Can't you improve your strength? Improve it quickly. King Frieza. Tagma was very moved, and thought that King Frieza was just talking, and he didn't expect that King Frieza would choose to lower his strength to fight him in order to avenge himself. Kale. Caulifla couldn't bear Kale to continue to be beaten, and her figure flashed and appeared on the ring. You fat pig, don't you care about your people? You're running up before the battle is over. Do you want to taste my destructive energy? Beerus said as he condensed a purple energy ball in his hand. Caulifla, why don't you get back here? Champa shouted loudly. Frieza threw Kale away and turned to Beerus. Lord Beerus, fighting them is like playing house, let the rest of you go together. Frieza couldn't wait to get the Super Dragon Balls to make a wish. What? The contestants of the 6th universe looked very ugly. They were the top masters of the 6th universe after all, but they were looked down upon by others. Tagma asked with a worried look on his face. Ling Tian, will King Frieza be okay if he does this? Nothing. Ling Tian replied lightly. Frieza just wanted to end the game quickly. I was almost unable to resist the urge to beat up that fat cat. It is really too troublesome to play one match after another. Even if Frieza loses the game, there are still Ling Tian and the others. He will still win the game in the end. Beerus said after thinking for a moment. Fat pig, those who didn't play on your side can come together. I won't deny it if I lose. Champa was furious and said with a gloomy face. All of you come together, beat him up so hard that he can't recognize his mother. Yes, the people in the sixth universe did not dare to disobey Champa's order and flew to the ring one after another. Hit, Gabe, Caulifla, King Shadara, Gaia and Wotai Magada surrounded Frieza, and Kale returned to the audience with serious injuries. Frieza glanced around and taunted. No matter how many ants come, the result will be the same. I'll give you a chance, so transform quickly. Caulifla was furious. She had injured Kale and still dared to look down on the sixth universe. She transformed into Super Saiyan 3 and rushed towards Frieza. Kaba, King Shadara and Gaia did not think that Caulifla was stronger than Kale, so they all transformed into Super Saiyan 3 to help. So there are 4 Saiyans. Frieza didn't care about the attackers. He stretched out his right hand to catch Caulifla's fist and kicked her. Gaia's figure flashed and appeared behind Frieza. You still want to sneak attack me? Frieza's tail hit Gaia's face heavily. Ah! Gaia screamed and was directly whipped away. Gaia! King Shadara flashed and appeared beside Gaia, catching it. Kaba gathered all the energy in his hands, condensed a lavender energy ball, and blasted it towards Frieza. Afterburner. HMPH. A trifling trick. Frieza snorted coldly and casually slapped the energy away. If your strength is only this, then it's time to end it. Frieza shouted, and his aura increased again. How is it possible? Card sweat broke out on the foreheads of Gabe and the others. He was not at his full strength just now. Frieza's figure flashed, and he appeared next to Gabe, kicking him in the waist. Ah! Gabe vomited blood, and the whole person flew directly to the audience seats of the sixth universe. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, more than half of the audience seats of the sixth universe were directly destroyed. Vados took out his staff and waved it. After healing Gabe's injuries, he said aggrievedly. Boo! Lord Champa, the other side has already defeated us after sending out the second player. It seems that we will lose this game. Champa gnashed his teeth, his face was very ugly. Caulifla, King Shadala and Wotai Magada teamed up again to attack Frieza, while Hit stood silently on the side, not knowing whether he wanted to fight Frieza 1v1 or wanted to take advantage of his unpreparedness to attack him. Bang! 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 Several people's powerful fists hit Frieza, making loud noises. However, Frieza did not move at all, with a slight smile on his face, and said sarcastically. Are you tickling me, Caulifla? Get out of the way. Gaia's left arm was clenched and bent, and his right arm was stretched horizontally. While his hands were crossed to form a right angle, energy continued to gather on his right arm. Quantum Streamline. Quote, Gaia shouted, and a red super hot light beam was emitted from his right arm, attacking Frieza. Frieza turned his head and glared, and 2 red rays shot out of his eyes. Light eyes. Boom. The 2 energies collided with each other, causing a violent explosion. Good opportunity. Wotai Magada punched his chest with both fists, and 2 white mists emerged above his head. Then he opened his mouth and sprayed hot magma energy at Frieza. Magma saliva. You, a piece of rotten copper, dare to spit at me, let me see how I will deal with you later. Quote. Frieza slapped King Shadala who was blocking the road and rushed towards Wataru Magada. Without waiting for Frieza to arrive, Wataru Magada covered his eyes with his hands and ran to the audience seats of the sixth universe crying. Still want to run? No way. Frieza wanted to catch up and beat Wataru Magada. Mr. Frieza, wait a minute. Whis stopped Frieza who wanted to take advantage of the victory. What's wrong? Frieza looked puzzled. I hit the opponent and you still want to stop me. You are not an undercover sent by the opponent. Whis saw Frieza's thoughts at a glance and explained without any care. Mr. Frieza, Wataru Magada is from the metal people. Their hearts are very fragile. As long as they hear someone insulting them, they will lose their fighting ability instantly. Quote. Bardos, why didn't you remind me when I was looking for this person? Champa asked dissatisfiedly. Vados covered his mouth and smiled and said, Lord Champa, don't you think his iron body is very powerful? Why do I always find some useless humans? Champa is a little doubtful about his life. The 2 of them were very excited. Frieza nodded and said, in that case, I'll spare you this time. Wotai Magada chose to give up. The game continues. With the host's order, the few people started fighting again. Frieza made a gorgeous turn and rushed towards King Shadara. King Shadara stretched out his hands and pressed forward. A force of gravity instantly appeared on Frieza's body. Frieza didn't expect the opponent to have such a strange move at all, and the whole person fell from the air. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, a deep pit in the shape of a human was smashed into the ground. Caulifla, we can't let him stand up again, Gaia said as she gathered energy in her hands, condensing a silver-white energy ball. Gaia Blizzard, Gaia shouted, stretched out her hands, and fired the condensed energy bomb above the deep pit where Frieza was. Just when everyone was wondering why Gaia didn't attack Frieza. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the energy bomb in the air exploded directly, and the freezing gas produced by the explosion fell from the air onto Frieza's body. As soon as Frieza's body touched the freezing gas, the whole person turned into an ice sculpture. Seeing this, Caulifla soared into the sky, her hands continued to gather energy, and continuously fired red gas bombs from her hands, attacking Frieza. Bang! Boom! For a while, explosions were heard everywhere, and the entire ring was filled with smoke, and it was completely unclear what was going on inside. Saiyan Monkey. Frieza was furious, and a burst of energy rushed out from the smoke. He raised his right hand and condensed energy on his fingers. Planet Destroyer. Frieza shouted and threw the huge energy ball at Caulifla. Seeing this, Caulifla gathered all the energy in her hands and fired a red energy wave to resist. Smash Cannon. The two energies collided in midair, and there was no evenly matched scene. Caulifla's energy wave not only failed to resist the Planet Destroyer, but also increased its energy. After the Planet Destroyer swallowed the energy wave, it continued to fly towards Caulifla. How is it possible? Caulifla stood there motionless, unable to believe that her strongest attack had no effect at all. King Shadala shouted loudly, "Caulifla, get out of the way." Just when the energy bomb was about to hit Caulifla, a purple light flashed, and a man with his hands in his pockets suddenly appeared in front of Caulifla and kicked the energy bomb away. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the planet-destroying bomb exploded in the universe. The person who came was Hit, who was watching the show on the side. It seemed that he had already understood Frieza's fighting style and approximate strength, and was ready to deal with Frieza. Oh, Frieza was a little shocked. He thought that this person was scared and dared not move. He never thought that this person's strength would be the strongest one. Frieza's mouth corners slightly raised his right hand and condensed a circular disc with energy, and threw it to Hit. Cut the disc. Nova Strike. Immediately afterwards, Frieza shouted, and a purple energy wrapped around his whole body, and quickly rushed towards Hit. Hit didn't care about the attack of Frieza, and still maintained his aloof style with his hands in his pockets. You look down on me like this? Go to hell. Frieza waved his powerful fist and blasted at Hit. The next moment, Frieza's face suddenly became ugly. His attack just now was about to hit the opponent, but he didn't know when Hit had already run to his side. He didn't expect that his attack would miss. What? Tagma couldn't believe that King Frieza's attack could be dodged so easily. Frieza said with a forced calm. Just now, I was just careless. You won't be so lucky next time. Hit ignored Frieza and waved his fist to attack him. Humph! Frieza snorted coldly, gathered his strength in his arm, and swung his right fist to resist. Look, I'm going to break your arm. However, things didn't go as Frieza expected. Ah! Frieza's body arched into a shrimp shape and flew backwards. What happened? Frieza quickly stabilized his body in the air, with an expression of disbelief on his face. His fist was about to collide with the opponent's fist, so why was his abdomen suddenly attacked? Just as Frieza was thinking about what was going on, various energy bombs attacked him. Frieza had never expected that the Saiyans would choose to sneak attack at this time, and he was hit head-on. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and thick smoke billowed in the air. It seems that we still have to clean up these small fish first. Frieza condensed two circular discs with his hands and threw them at Hit. Seeing Hit being blocked, he flashed and appeared in front of Caulifla in an instant, grabbed her, and his eyes glowed red. Light eyes. Caulifla could not break free from Frieza's restraints, and was pierced directly through the chest by two rays of light. Seeing Caulifla, who had lost her ability to fight, Frieza kicked her towards the audience seats of the Sixth Universe. Caulifla, Gaia and King Shadara were furious. In the blink of an eye, they came to Frieza and waved their fists at him. Bang! Bang! The collision of fists and bodies made loud noises. Frieza didn't care about the attacks of the two people. He turned around and said with a smile. You came just in time, and saved me a lot of time. Frieza raised his right hand and condensed energy, and flame bombs shot out from his hand. Flame bomb. Seeing this, Gaia used energy to condense a protective shield on his body and blocked King Shidara. Ho ho ho. Stop struggling. Frieza smiled and condensed a huge energy blade in his hand, slashing at the two. Earth slash. With a bang, Gaia's energy shield was directly shattered by the giant blade. Ah, ah. Gaia and King Shidara were hit by the giant blade, and a huge wound appeared on their chests, and blood spilled all over the ground. The two were seriously injured and fell to the ground motionless. If they were not still breathing, everyone in the audience would have thought that they were dead. King Frieza is killing like crazy. Why are the attacks getting more and more fierce? Tagma couldn't believe it. Did King Frieza forget that this was a game? Champa's face was gloomy, and he roared with dissatisfaction. Frieza, do you want to kill them both? Frieza didn't care about the angry Champa. If he didn't fight them and made them lose their fighting ability, they would definitely hinder his fighting. Then he said with a smile. This Lord God of Destruction, they just lost their fighting ability. You can take them back to the audience for treatment. Champa got angry when he heard it. Did they lose their fighting ability? Purple flames came out of Champa's body and a purple energy ball condensed in his hand, trying to destroy Frieza. The two of them were so busy that they had to face each other. Champa, what do you want to do? Beerus shouted, and purple flames came out of his body. Frieza was his younger brother before, how could he let you destroy him? A hard-working younger brother. Beerus-sama, Champa-sama. Whis and Bardos hurried forward to stop the two from fighting. Then, Bardos appeared on the ring, took out his staff and waved it, recovering Gaia and King Shidara's injuries, and took the two back to the audience seats of the 6th universe. Frieza stood there motionless. He had seen the power of destructive energy when he helped Beerus destroy the planet before, and he never thought that this fat cat wanted to kill him for such a small matter. Broly restrained his emotions and said word by word. This fat cat is still as unreasonable as before, and wants to fight at the slightest disagreement. Broly, let him pretend for a while, or he will be in trouble. The host ran to the ring with a microphone and announced loudly. 9 contestants have been eliminated from the 6th universe now, and only the last one is left. Only one contestant has been eliminated from the 7th universe from the beginning to now. I wonder if this contestant with his hands in his pockets can turn the tide and eliminate the 9 contestants of the 7th universe in a row to win. Let's wait and see. After the host finished speaking, he quickly left the dilapidated ring. Hit, kill him. Champa was very dissatisfied with Frieza's behavior. Since Beerus was stopping him, he could let the people on the ring take action. Frieza's face darkened when he heard it. He didn't know what he was thinking. Hit didn't respond to Champa, but rushed directly to Frieza. Frieza was just full of anger, and he also launched a fierce attack on Hit who was attacking him. Bang, bang, bang. The two moved at high speed and hit directly from the ground to the air. Suddenly, Frieza fell from midair. Why is it like this again? Frieza couldn't believe that the opponent's speed was so fast. He had clearly seen his movements, but he attacked from another place. Trunks was a little confused and looked puzzled. Uncle Lingtian, he's so fast. Did you see his movements clearly? Lingtian replied calmly. It's not speed, it's time. Time. The more they listened, the more confused they became. Lingtian explained to everyone. That's right. His ability is called Flash Time Skill, a time-based move that can jump 0.1 seconds. During this time, he can arbitrarily ravage his opponent, but this skill has a disadvantage, that is, it doesn't work at all against people who are stronger than him. Oh, so that's the case. Everyone suddenly realized it after hearing this. Uncle Lingtian, you are so amazing. You even know this kind of thing. Sun Wuxian said with admiration. Wuxian, because I also know Flash Time Skill. Lingtian replied with a smile. Lingtian, since you know Flash Time Skill, why don't you use it once? Vegeta asked. Didn't I say that it doesn't work against people who are stronger than me? Do I have to use the Flash Time Skill to kill a small minion? You don't mind the trouble, but I do. Ling Tian said helplessly. This skill is really useless. Beerus stared at Hit on the ring and asked. Whis, is there anyone like Hit in our universe? Whis checked the staff and responded lightly. Lord Beerus, although our universe and the sixth universe are twin universes, not every place is the same. There is no one like Hit in our universe. There are people who control time in our universe. Vegeta exclaimed. Who is it? Where is that person now? Beerus immediately became interested and turned his head to look at Vegeta on the side. It was someone from the former Frieza Corps, but I killed him. Vegeta recalled the four-eyed boy Goldo. Vegeta, why did you kill him? Beerus was puzzled. There are very few people in the universe who have time-related abilities. At that time, his combat power was only tens of thousands, and he had to hold his breath to control time. When Beerus heard this, he was immediately. I was interested and thought that person was very powerful. I never thought that he was just a small fry. On the ring, Frieza was covered with wounds, but he still stood firm. You were really tenacious. Hit was also shocked by Frieza's ability to withstand beatings. Most people would fall to the ground if they were attacked by him a few times. However, now he has fought with him for hundreds of rounds, and he is still fine. What is his body made of? Frieza wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said with a smile. I am the best fighter in the universe. Your little attack has no effect on me at all. It's time to end. As soon as the voice fell, a purple figure flashed by, and Hit instantly appeared in front of Frieza, waving his fist and hitting him, trying to get rid of Frieza with one move. Bang! The fist collided with the body, making a loud noise. Hit thought that Frieza would be blown away by a punch, but he didn't expect that Frieza would resist the attack and hold his arm despite the severe pain. Ho ho ho, you have been attacking for so long, now it's my turn. Frieza glared, and two red rays shot out of his eyes. Light eyes. Hit tried his best but couldn't break free from Frieza's restraints. He was hit by two rays head-on. Although his body was not penetrated by the beams, he was also seriously injured. Then, Frieza wrapped his tail around Hit's arm and continued to attack him fiercely. Hit didn't tolerate Frieza, and the two of them fought in close combat. In a moment, both of them vomited blood and had bruises on their faces. Ho ho ho, now you know how powerful I am. Frieza laughed loudly and said. You'd better give up quickly. You can't hold on any longer. Ha, I saw Hit suddenly shouting, and a purple energy surrounded him. Frieza, I really want to thank you. I have always thought that my strength would not improve, but fighting with you made me realize that my strength can continue to improve. Pure growth. Fighting with a strong enemy, its overall strength will be significantly improved, and the ability to use Flash Time will also be improved. Hit broke free from Frieza's restraints with a burst of energy and punched him in the abdomen. Frieza arched into a shrimp shape and flew backwards. Frieza gritted his teeth and slowly got up from the ground. Hit admired Frieza very much, but there was no suspense in the next battle, and then said. You are indeed the best fighter in the universe, but I am now stronger than you, so you should admit defeat. Champa leaned on the audience with both hands and shouted loudly. Hit, didn't you hear what I just said? Kill him. The whole audience was shocked by what Champa said. They never thought that the god of destruction would keep harping on such a small matter. Hit ignored Champa's yelling, but stood quietly, waiting for Frieza's reply. Champa frowned and cursed. You fool, you dare not listen to my orders, I will destroy you. Lord Champa, if you destroy Hit, we will have no contestants. Bardos on the side chuckled and responded lightly. You don't need to remind me. Champa shouted angrily. Ha ha ha, you want to beat me to death. Ha ha ha, Frieza suddenly laughed out loud. He had just been out of the children's park for more than 10 days, and someone wanted to send him back again. This was unforgivable. Hey, Frieza shouted, and his aura increased again. The whole planet kept shaking, and the clear sky instantly became cloudy. Lightning fell from the sky and struck Frieza all around. Frieza's golden skin slowly turned into silver white, and two silver white horns grew symmetrically on his shoulders. A dazzling light flashed, and Golden Frieza successfully turned into Platinum Frieza. How is it possible? How can he have such a strong strength? How did this guy practice? The aura that Frieza burst out shocked everyone in the sixth universe, and they looked unbelievable. Everyone originally thought that Hit would be able to turn the tide after his strength increased dramatically, but they did not expect that Frieza would have a stronger form. It seems that their universe will lose this game. Fuah, the Kai of the 6th universe, turned his head and asked the old Kai next to him. This Frieza should be the best player in your universe, right? The old Kai shook his head with a smile, and did not say much, but stared at Frieza on the ring. Fu-Ah was shocked, and could not believe that Frieza had such a strong strength, but he was not the strongest in the 7th universe. Hit, you are very good. I wanted to try to see if I could defeat you with the golden form before. I did not expect that you could also enhance your strength through fighting. Frieza smiled and praised Hit, and then said, "Do you want to continue fighting?" Hit was stared at by Frieza, and his body could not help shaking. Hit took a deep breath, adjusted his state, and said with a firm face, "Of course, I also want to test your strength in this form. You are the most powerful human I have ever met. I hope you can do your best in the battle later." "Ho ho ho," Frieza responded with a smile. "I knew you wouldn't give up easily. I will meet your requirements." The two slowly walked towards each other, their auras rising and their arrogance growing. Frieza and Hit stood opposite each other. The next moment, Frieza and Hit's figures flashed and suddenly disappeared. Both of them moved at high speed and launched fierce attacks on each other. Bang! After just 2 or 3 rounds of fighting, Hit was kicked away by Frieza. Hit got up from the ground in a mess, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "You are very strong." But Hit's eyes condensed, and he quickly used the flash time skill, and the space solidified instantly. The next moment, Hit saw the right moment and swung his fist at Frieza's vitals. Then, a shocking scene happened. Frieza broke the restriction that trapped him with a burst of energy, and cracks suddenly appeared in the space around Frieza. How could this happen? Hit's face turned ugly in an instant. As a powerful energy burst out from Frieza, the space formed by Hit's flash was directly shattered. However, Hit's fist was firmly grasped by Frieza. Actually, this is impossible." Hit showed an unbelievable expression. His flash time skill, which had worked every time, would be useless one day. Frieza repeated Ling Tian's words to Hit. "Hit, your flash time skill is useless to me now. Because my current strength has surpassed yours, and the flash time skill has no effect on opponents who are stronger than me." So that's it. Hit suddenly realized that he was in the universe. The assassination missions that Zhou Zhang received were all against people with lower strength than himself, and he never thought that the flash time kung fu would have such a shortcoming. His strongest moves had no effect on Frieza, so it seemed that there was no need to continue fighting, so he turned his head and said to the host outside the ring, "I admit defeat in this match." Hearing this, the host ran to the tattered ring with a microphone and announced, "The contestant Hit of the 6th universe admits defeat. All 10 contestants of the 6th universe are eliminated. The winner of the martial arts competition held by the 6th universe and the 7th universe this time is." Just when the host was about to announce the result, Shankpa's figure flashed, and he appeared on the ring in an instant, kicked the host away, and then pointed at Hit angrily and said, "You fool, you have disobeyed my orders again and again, and now you dare to admit defeat. You die." Shankpa's body was filled with purple flames, and he raised his right hand to condense a purple energy ball. Destruction. A purple energy ball shot out from Shankpa's hand and flew towards Hit's position. As the number 1 killer in the 6th universe, Hit had naturally heard of the power of the god of destruction. Hit was terrified, without even a thought of resistance, and stood there motionless, muttering to himself, "Am I going to die here today?" Swish. Frieza's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Hit, stretching out his hands to resist the destructive energy for Hit. "Human, you are looking for death yourself, you can't blame me." Shankpa smiled. This Frieza is looking for death himself, even if he is destroyed, Beerus dare not trouble him. "What a bullshit destruction, I will crush it today." Quote. Frieza shouted, and his hands kept compressing the destructive energy ball, and the energy ball kept shrinking. With a bang, the destructive energy was directly crushed by Frieza. Everyone in the audience of the 6th universe was stunned. The destructive energy was crushed. Isn't the destructive energy of the god of destruction very powerful? It seems that the destructive energy is not invincible. Shankpa was completely stunned, and with the sound of discussions in his ears, he slowly came to his senses. It's okay to lose the game, but now the destructive energy is resisted by humans, and it has been seen by so many people. It won't be long before his heroic deeds will spread throughout the 12 universes. Shangpa became more and more angry as he thought about it, staring at Frieza and Hit fiercely, and shouted loudly. You two humans, die. Swish. Quote. Champa's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Hit and Frieza. Hit knew that Champa would not let him go, so he mustered up the courage to resist. However, in the eyes of the fully powered Champa, Hit's amazing speed was no different from that of an ordinary person. He could even see all of Hit's movements clearly the moment he attacked. The dead body was buried in the ground. Since you are so anxious to die, then I will help you. Shangpa raised his right hand to catch Hit's powerful fist and kicked him in the abdomen. Ah! Hit vomited blood and flew backwards. Boom! Hit crashed directly into a high mountain and was buried by the falling rocks. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Hit, although Gabe and others had no friendship with Hit, they still wanted to bring Hit back for treatment. If any of you dare to go, don't blame me. Shangpa stared at Gabe and his group viciously. For the sake of their hometown and planet, Gabe and others could only reluctantly return to the audience seats and sit down. Frieza was also angry when he saw Hit being beaten, and he burst out all his energy and rushed towards Shangpa. Humph! Do you think you can compete with the god of destruction by blocking the destructive energy I condensed casually? You are really overestimating yourself. Shangpa snorted coldly, grabbed Frieza's attacking fist, and hit his abdomen hard with his knee. Ah! Frieza spat out a mouthful of blood from his mouth. It is unbelievable that the god of destruction has such a powerful strength. Humans are humans after all. No matter how powerful they are still like ants. Disappear. Shangpa condensed a purple energy ball in his hand and blasted it towards Frieza. Break. Before Shangpa finished speaking, he was kicked in the waist by a man in a cloak. The energy release was interrupted, and Shangpa flew backwards. The person who came was Ling Tian, who had teleported. He had not taken action just now because he wanted to see how big the gap was between Frieza and the god of destruction. He had never expected this result. It seems that Frieza has to continue to practice. Frieza, go and save Hit. Ling Tian said as he took out 2 Senzu beans from his storage ring and handed them to Frieza. Frieza stood there motionless, unable to believe that Ling Tian would save him. Frieza, why are you still standing there? Go quickly. Hit will die soon. Frieza nodded after hearing this, took the Senzu beans from Ling Tian's hand, and flew towards Hit's position. Shangpa quickly stabilized his body in the air, furious. Beerus, since everyone in your universe wants to die, you can't blame me. Beerus shouted loudly in dissatisfaction. Ling Tian, why don't you come back to me quickly? Lord Beerus, you better not care about this matter. Sun Wukong said and used teleportation. Since Ling Tian has already taken action, there is no need to wait any longer. Everyone used teleportation. Swish, swish, swish. Sun Wukong, Broly, Cell, Paragus, Son Gohan, Piccolo and Vegeta appeared on the ring. Do you guys want to rebel? Beerus shouted, and a purple flame came out of his body. Just when Beerus wanted to fly to the ring, Whis grabbed Beerus' shoulder. Whis, what do you want to do? Beerus turned his head and looked at Whis with a puzzled look. Whis did not let go of Beerus, but said with a serious face. Lord Beerus, Goku is right, you should not intervene in this battle. Why? The more Beerus listened, the more confused he became. Why didn't anyone want to intervene in the battle? He knew Champa's strength best. If he didn't go up to help, he would be beaten half to death by Ling Tian and others. Whis shook his head helplessly and then explained. Lord Beerus, while you were still sleeping, Lord Champa had already come to the 7th universe. At that time, Ling Tian and others were also looking for wishing beads in the universe, and Lord Champa was also looking for them. The two bumped into each other while looking for wishing beads. Lord Champa directly destroyed Broly in order to snatch the wishing beads. Ling Tian didn't know why he escaped the destructive energy. When I arrived, Lord Champa had already left with his sister. What? The wishing beads were stolen from my universe, and Champa killed people from my universe. Beerus hesitated when he heard this. If he went to help Champa, Ling Tian and others would definitely fight him to the death. Ah, Beerus sighed. With a sigh, he returned to the audience and sat down. He could only pray silently in his heart that Champa could have the same ability to withstand blows as Frieza. Good, very good. Seeing that Beerus did not come to stop him, Shangpa laughed and then said to Ling Tian and others. You guys dare to attack the god of destruction, but you dare not see anyone. Ha ha ha. Ling Tian took off his cloak with a smile. Do you know how long we have waited for this day? Everyone took off their cloaks, and Ling Tian took the cloaks from several people and put them in the storage ring. Ah! Brawly shouted, and his aura continued to rise, and violent energy continued to surge out. The originally clear sky suddenly became cloudy, and lightning fell from the sky, striking Brawly all around. Brawly's black hair gradually turned silver-white, slowly growing to his waist, and silver-white hair grew on his chest and palms. He had strong muscles and a long silver-white tail behind him. How is it possible? Champa was shocked. These two ants really came back to life just as Bardos said. Suddenly, Champa seemed to think of something and said angrily. So my home was destroyed by you guys. Everyone in the audience was shocked by this sentence. These people are too powerful. They even dare to destroy the home of the god of destruction. After Brawly transformed into Super Saiyan 5, he rushed towards Champa without any hesitation. During the action, Brawly continued to gather energy in his chest. Fat Cat, go to hell. In the blink of an eye, Brawly came in front of Champa and then detonated the energy. Chest gas bomb. Boom. A violent explosion sounded, and Champa was blown away directly. A huge deep pit was blown out of the earth-brown planet, and golden light could be seen faintly inside. Bardos and Whis took out their staffs and waved them, condensing a huge protective shield to protect everyone in the audience. After Frieza gave the Senzu beans to hit, the two rushed over immediately, but were unexpectedly blown away by the shock wave of the explosion. Wukong, you guys surround this fat cat for me, don't let him run away. Ling Tian said as he performed instant teleportation, saved Frieza and Hit, and took the two back to the audience seats of the 7th universe. Sun Wukong and others also exploded when they heard this. They didn't meet him last time they went to his house, so how could he run away this time? Hey, ah! With the roars of the crowd, the aura on their bodies continued to rise. A blue aura appeared on Goku, Vegeta, and Paragus, and their black hair gradually turned blue, and a sacred aura enveloped their bodies. A dazzling light flashed, and the three successfully transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, with blue hair fluttering in the wind. The two of them were so excited. These three people actually have the aura of God. The Kai of the 6th universe, Fu-Ah, was stunned. The old Kai pointed in the direction of Trunks with a proud look on his face. Fu-Ah, there is nothing to be shocked about. As long as they are Saiyans, they can become like this. See the two children over there. They can also become like this. Upon hearing this, the Kai turned his head and saw two children around 10 years old, staring at the fight on the ring. Can you change at such a young age? The Kai immediately asked the old Kai about the method of transformation. Wait until the battle is over, then go ask them yourself. Old Kai didn't know how Goku and the others turned into Super Saiyan Blue, so he pushed Fu-Ah away and watched the battle. Suddenly, dark clouds covered the sky above Cell, Son Gohan and Piccolo, and lightning fell from the sky, striking around them. Cell's green skin slowly turned into silver white, his aura continued to increase, and violent energy continued to pour out of his body. After Cell transformed into Platinum Cell, he exuded a cold aura, making it difficult to approach. Son Gohan's black hair gradually turned into silver. Although it was very similar to the Super Saiyan 2 form, his hair was longer and more upright, with a little bangs on his forehead and a pair of red pupils. Gohan successfully transformed into Beast Gohan. Piccolo's green skin turned directly into orange, his expression became more majestic, his body became taller and his muscles swelled, his eyes turned red, and Piccolo successfully transformed into Orange Piccolo. After everyone completed the transformation, without any hesitation, they flashed and surrounded the surroundings. How is it possible? Shangpa was shocked. Why did such a skinny universe have so many powerful humans? Suddenly, an ominous premonition came to his mind. Brawly's eyes were red, as if he was about to lose control. He raised his right hand and condensed a giant energy ball. Vast Omega. As the energy ball left Brawly's hand, it continued to split into multiple gas bombs and attacked Shangpa. Bang! Boom! For a while, explosions sounded everywhere, and a large piece of sand and dust was raised on the ground. The smoke dissipated, and Shangpa appeared in front of everyone with a gray face. Champa soared into the sky, condensed a huge purple energy ball in his hand, and blasted it towards Brawly. Destroy. Swish. Ling Tian moved in an instant and appeared in front of Brawly in an instant, raised his right hand and said lightly. Annihilation. A purple-red energy ball shot out from Ling Tian's hand and flew towards the destructive energy. A shocking scene occurred. Shangpa destructive energy had no power to fight back and was directly swallowed by the annihilation energy. How is it possible? Is he still the god of destruction? Why is the destructive energy repeatedly resisted by humans? Shangpa was stunned and stood there motionless, beginning to doubt his identity. Vados also showed an incredible expression. He never thought that the two insignificant humans he met a few years ago would improve their strength so quickly. Just when Shangpa was stunned, Brawly flashed and appeared above him in an instant, and hit Shangpa hard with a heavy punch. Boom! Shangpa was blasted into the ground, and a large piece of dust rose on the ground. The smoke dissipated, and a huge deep pit appeared on the ground. Ah! Before Champa could get up, Brawly quickly fell from the air, grabbed Champa's head and rubbed it on the ground. After a while, he plowed all over the planet, and then kicked Champa into the air. Seeing this, Sun Gohan put his hands on his head and gathered energy, and blasted Champa in the air. Magic flash. Champa was hit by the energy head-on before he could avoid it. Boom! With a violent explosion, Champa appeared in front of everyone with injuries all over his body. Champa felt that he had lost all his face and was played by several humans in front of the gods. You all go to hell! Champa roared, and the purple flame on his body became darker and bigger. Fat cat, just keep talking big. Ling Tian said and released all his breath, and the violent energy on his body continued to surge out, and lightning fell from the sky and struck around Ling Tian. Ling Tian's hair slowly turned from black to silver. It slowly grew until it reached the waist, and silver-white hair grew on the chest and outside the palms. It had a strong body of muscles, and the long tail behind it also turned silver-white. Then, Ling Tian's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Shangpa, and he attacked his cat head. Ah, you human, I'll fight you. Shangpa endured the severe pain and continued to attack Ling Tian. Yes, that's it. Ling Tian could clearly feel that his strength was getting stronger and stronger. The violent energy of the super bloodline was constantly bursting out. Every time Shangpa attacked him, pain growth continued to increase his combat power. Shangpa suddenly found something wrong, and then punched Ling Tian fiercely. Bang! The two fists collided with each other, and each retreated. Ling Tian looked at Shangpa, who was bruised and swollen, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. He took out a fairy bean from the storage ring and ate it. The injuries on his body were instantly restored, and his physical strength was instantly restored to the peak period. What did you eat? Shangpa covered his swollen face and looked at the scene in disbelief. Fat cat, do you still care about these things now? Brawly's figure flashed and appeared in front of Shangpa. He stretched out his big hand, grabbed his cat head, and hit his abdomen heavily with his knee. Ah! Suddenly, Brawly screamed and slammed Shangpa to the ground. You fat cat dared to bite me. Brawly punched and kicked Shangpa. You human! Shangpa shouted, condensed a protective shield on his body, and kicked Brawly away. Then, Shangpa continued to gather energy in his hands, and destructive energy balls shot out from his hands and attacked Brawly. Swish! Ling Tian moved behind Shangpa in an instant and kicked him. Ah! Shangpa screamed, feeling that his body was about to break in two, and flew backwards. Piccolo looked at Shangpa flying towards him, put the middle finger and index finger of his right hand together on his forehead, and gathered energy. Magic Light Killing Cannon. Pico's right hand suddenly stretched forward, and a beam of energy surrounded by a spiral shot out from his fingers. Shangpa quickly stabilized his body in the air, condensed a huge purple energy ball, and threw it at Piccolo. Destruction. The two energies collided in midair, but there was no violent explosion. As soon as the magic light killing cannon touched the destructive energy, it turned into purple particles and disappeared, and the destructive energy continued to fly towards Piccolo. What? Pico was shocked. It seemed that his strength was still not enough, otherwise the two energies would definitely cancel each other out. Looking at the energy ball in front of him, Piccolo quickly stretched out his hands to resist. Unexpectedly, as soon as his hands touched the destructive energy, the arrogance on his body was swallowed up bit by bit. Ah! Piccolo screamed loudly, and his aura continued to rise. No matter how Piccolo's energy exploded, it could not resist the continued devouring of the destructive energy. No, Piccolo was very unwilling. Could it be that after practicing for so long, he had no way to deal with the destructive energy? Uncle Piccolo. Silver flames emerged from Son Gohan's body, and tiny pink lightnings surrounded him. In the blink of an eye, Son Gohan came in front of Piccolo and stretched out his hands to help Piccolo resist the destructive energy. The enemy was in chaos, and the enemy was in chaos. Sun Wukong, Vegeta, Paragus, and Cell were furious and no longer cared about the encirclement. They attacked Champa one after another. Sun Wukong and Vegeta flashed and kicked Champa in the face from left to right. Ah! Champa screamed and felt that his face was deformed by the kick. Human! Champa burst out with energy, punched Sun Wukong, kicked Vegeta in the abdomen, and repelled the two. Champa rubbed his handsome face and quickly pursued the victory. Kamehameha! Afterburner! Cell and Paragus shouted, and blasted the condensed energy towards Champa. What? Champa did not expect that there were two people condensing energy waiting for him, and he was hit head-on. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the black-bottomed and white-edged cloth belt hanging around Champa's neck and his shoes were blown away, leaving only a pair of shorts on his body. Vegeta, look over there. Ha ha ha. Sun Wukong laughed while holding his stomach. Humph. Vegeta snorted coldly, maintaining his aloof personality. Ha ha ha. 3 seconds later, Vegeta still couldn't help laughing out loud. Ah, what a shame. Champa roared, he must make these humans pay the price today. Ling Tian moved in an instant and appeared in front of Champa, grabbed Champa's 2 arms, and began to gather energy in his chest. What do you want to do? Let me go. Even if Champa tried his best, he still couldn't break free from Ling Tian's restraints, and could only watch the energy ball grow bigger and bigger. Run! Cell shouted and flew away quickly. Sun Wukong, Vegeta and Paragus hurried to catch up. Chest gas bomb. Seeing that Sun Wukong and others had left the explosion range, Ling Tian shouted and detonated the condensed energy. Boom! Quote. A violent explosion sounded, and although Sun Wukong, Vegeta, Cell and Paragus were far away from the explosion range, they were still blown away by the shock wave of the explosion. Everyone in the audience was shocked by the fierce battle. Whis smiled, as if everything was normal. Beerus and Bardos looked solemn and worried about Champa. When the smoke dissipated, Ling Tian still held Champa's arm tightly. Ling Tian was covered with wounds, and Champa's situation was even more grim. His chest was directly sunken by the explosion. Ling Tian's mouth corners slightly raised, and he let go of Champa's hand. Bang! Champa fell from the air and hit the ground heavily. Champa! A purple aura emerged from Beerus, and he wanted to go up to help Champa. Whis did not step forward to stop Beerus, but said lightly. Lord Beerus, you must think carefully before taking action. Quote. Beerus clenched his fists, but still resisted the urge to help. Shua! Brawly flashed and instantly appeared above Champa, wrapped in energy. Exploding meteor. As Brawly shouted, he emanated energy bombs in all directions with himself as the center. What the hell is Brawly doing? Ling Tian just blew up and you come again. Sun Wukong and others used energy to condense a protective shield on their bodies to protect themselves. Bang! Boom! For a while, explosions sounded everywhere, the whole planet kept shaking, and the ground raised pieces of sand and dust, smoke and smog, with only a few dozen meters of visibility. The smoke dissipated, and a dazzling light emanated from under everyone's feet. What's under our feet is actually a Super Dragon Ball. Quote. Everyone present was shocked. They had never expected that the Dragon Ball would be covered by dirt and dust from the meteorite impact. Frieza shouted loudly from the audience. Don't just stand there. That fat cat is going to run away. Pa! Beerus' figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of Frieza, slapping him in the face. Ah! Frieza screamed and was slapped away. Ling Tian and others came to their senses and looked towards Champa's position. Seeing that Champa was dragging his wounded body towards the audience seats of the 6th universe. Fat cat, you still want to run. Cell moved in an instant and appeared in front of him, putting his hands beside his head and performing his special skills. Sun Fist. As Cell shouted, a strong light emanated from his body. Ah, my eyes. Champa covered his eyes in pain. Seeing this, Cell hurriedly pursued and hit him with a heavy punch. Boom! Champa's body fell from the air uncontrollably and hit the Super Dragon Ball heavily. Then, Cell kept gathering energy in his hands, and air bombs shot out from his hands and attacked Champa. Vegeta was also furious. So many people surrounded a fat cat and let it take advantage of the opportunity. He almost ran away. It was unforgivable. Vegeta soared into the sky. Energy continued to flow out of his hands, and his two hands kept releasing energy bombs, blasting towards Champa. Continuous energy bombs. Prince's tactics. Bang! Boom! Champa, who fell to the ground, was swallowed by countless energy bombs before he could get up. King Kai Shin looked at Champa, who failed to escape and was caught and attacked, and couldn't help asking, "Grandfather, will this be okay?" The old King Kai shook his head and said helplessly, "Before becoming the god of destruction, Champa was just a powerful human. After going through layers of selection in various universes and constantly challenging masters, he finally became the god of destruction of the 6th universe. With such a good talent, if he doesn't work hard to practice, he deserves to be beaten to death." Frieza. Beerus was furious and kicked him. If it weren't for Frieza, Champa might have run to Bardo's side, and Ling Tian and the others would not have continued to fight. 1 minute later, Cell and Vegeta released energy bombs continuously, and they were also exhausted and panting. When the smoke cleared, Champa could no longer be seen as a cat. His skin was torn and bloody. Champa stared at Ling Tian and the others fiercely, supported himself with his hands, and slowly stood up. "You humans." Champa didn't know why his brother Beerus didn't come to help him. Now he could only return to Bardos and let him heal his wounds and destroy these humans. Champa staggered into the air and flew towards Bardos. "You dare to run." Cell was immediately angry, raised his right hand to condense a circular disc, and threw it at Champa. Cut the disc. Champa had no ability to resist now, and could only watch the disc attack him. "Ah!" Champa screamed, and one of his legs was cut off directly. Everyone in the audience was stunned. Could Ling Tian and the others really want to kill Champa, the god of destruction? Champa. Beerus soared into the air and flew towards Champa's position. Bardos frowned and held the staff tightly. I wonder what he was thinking. "Uncle Piccolo, let's finish this fat cat off," Son Gohan said as he put his hands on his waist and gathered energy. Piccolo nodded, put the middle finger and index finger of his right hand together on his forehead, and gathered energy. Kameha. Magic light killing cannon. With a loud shout from the two, they blasted the gathered energy towards Champa. "You guys." Beerus couldn't believe that Ling Tian and the others really wanted to kill Champa, and he couldn't catch up at his current speed. The king of the universe, Fuwa, hurried to Bardos and began to beg. "Bardos, please save Lord Champa." In his heart, the king of the universe, Fuwa kept cursing Champa, who didn't know how to live or die. "Don't take me with you if you want to die. The king of the world and the god of destruction share the life, and if one dies, the other will disappear." Seeing the king of the world Fuwa constantly begging him, Bardos nodded helplessly, and then his figure flashed, and he flew slowly towards Champa's position. Originally, Bardos wanted to wait for Champaga, and use time reversal to restore to 3 minutes ago, so that Champaga would remember this guy, and see if he dares not to listen to him in the future. Broly looked at Champaga's fearful eyes and trembling body, and a very bright smile appeared on his face. Did this fat cat think of the result today when he killed us before? Ha ha ha. Paragus and Cell laughed, and finally wanted to avenge Broly. No. Looking at the two energies close at hand and Beerus and Bardos who were very far away from him, Champaga roared unwillingly. It seems that he will become the first god of destruction to be killed by humans in history. Champaga. Beerus roared. Champaga. Beerus' mind kept replaying the scenes of his childhood with Champa, fighting with Champa for food, and working hard to become a god of destruction. Champa closed his eyes tightly, quietly waiting for the arrival of energy, as if death was also a kind of relief. At this critical moment, a stream of colorful light fell in front of Champa. I saw a human who was less than 1 meter tall and looked very strange. He stretched out his little palm and waved it, and the energy of Son Gohan and Piccolo disappeared instantly. The child had an oval face, blue in the middle of the face, purple on both sides, 2 bean-sized eyes, growing in the position where the two colors alternated, wearing a white and purple shirt, and a special costume with a big, King the 10th King, written on it. On the left and right sides of the child, there were two people who looked very similar. They put their hands behind their backs, stared at the surroundings with serious expressions, and looked like two guards. Ling Tian recognized at a glance that this person was the King of All who stood at the top of the 12 universes. He thought that the King of All had not come to watch the martial arts tournament jointly held by the 6th and 7th universes. Unexpectedly, this King of All was quite patient and had been hiding aside to watch the show. Who are they? They look so strange, especially the man in the middle, who dared to resist the energy of Ling Tian and his friends. He will definitely be beaten to death. King Kai Shin, who was far away in the audience, muttered in a low voice. Shut up, you idiot. The old King Kai next to him trembled, slapped King Kai Shin on the back of his head, and then scolded him loudly. You idiot, I told you to read more books but you went to herd cattle. He is the Lord of the Omni, the most supreme God in the universe. If he is unhappy, he will wave his hand and the entire universe will disappear. Shin Kai nodded quickly. He never thought that this man who looked like an eraser would be the supreme god of the universe. He had no dignity of a god and was just like a kid in kindergarten. Whis covered his mouth and said with a smile, Old Lord Kai, can we stand here all the time? Old Kai hurriedly urged, Whis, why don't you take us there quickly? Whis nodded with a smile, took out his staff and waved it to wrap everyone up, turning into a stream of light and flying towards the position of the Lord of the Omni. Combat area. Little brat, who told you to meddle in other people's business? Cell was angry at the time, raised his right hand and condensed a golden energy ball, ready to kill this ignorant kid. Cell. Ling Tian flashed and instantly appeared beside Cell, grabbing Cell's hand. He didn't want Cell to be wiped out by the Omni King, although the wiped out person can be restored through the Super Dragon Ball. Ling Tian, why did you stop Cell? Vegeta was very dissatisfied with Ling Tian's behavior. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly, and then explained to everyone. What? The top combat power of the 12 universes. A person with Beerus strength will disappear with a casual wave of his hand. It's so scary. Cell and others heard this and immediately broke out in cold sweat. However, Sun Wukong was very. He ran to the front of the All-King with great excitement, and wanted to test whether the All-King's strength was as strong as Ling Tian said. With a bang, Beerus, who had just flown over, kicked Sun Wukong away. Ouch, it hurts so much. Lord Beerus, what are you doing? Sun Wukong slowly got up from the ground and rubbed the place where Beerus kicked him. Beerus pulled Sun Wukong's ear and cursed in his ear. You idiot, don't say such things to Lord All-King again in the future. The next moment, Whis brought everyone to the front of the All-King. Beerus bent his body 90 degrees to salute the All-King, and the old Kai and the Kai knelt on the ground with a plop. Welcome Lord All-King. Everyone swallowed their saliva and said in unison. Yeah, the All-King nodded calmly. Long time no see, Lord Omni King. How are you, Lord Omni King? Whis and Bardos greeted him one after another. The Omni King simply responded again. You all just wait and see how I will surpass you in the future. Frieza, who was standing in the crowd, said in his heart. At this time, Frieza was already very dissatisfied with the gods. It was obviously Fat Cat who beat him, but Beerus ignored their old friendship and didn't help him. He was beaten half to death just for reminding Ling Tian and the others. The Omni King ran to Bardos and pulled the corner of his clothes and said, Go and save Champa. Bardos' figure flashed when he heard the words, and appeared beside Champa. He took out his staff and waved it, restoring his injuries, and the broken leg grew back. Swish! Bardos brought Champa back to the Omni King. Champa saw his backer coming, and then he bowed to the King of All, and then pointed at Ling Tian and others and cursed. You humans, why are you standing there stupidly? Why don't you bow quickly when you see the King of All? Fat Cat, I just spared your life, and now your skin is itching again. Brawly said and was about to attack again. Ling Tian stepped forward and grabbed Brawly, thinking in his heart that I will beat you, the Fat Cat, to death after the King of All leaves. Although the King of All did not say anything, the two guards beside him stared at Champa, daring to be so unreasonable and yelling in front of the King of All. Is it your turn to speak when the master hasn't spoken yet? Do you really think you are a big shot? Shangpa felt that he was stared at by two beasts, and then turned his head to look, and the whole person fell to the ground with a plop, his head tightly pressed against the ground. Seeing that his brother Champa might be in trouble, Beerus immediately began to change the subject. Lord Omni King, you are here today, is there anything? After hearing Beerus' words, the Omni King's oval head was cute, and his expression did not change at all, and he still smiled and said, because you are holding a competition privately, I want to remind you. It's the job of the god of destruction, don't be lazy. After hearing this, Beerus and Champa's faces were covered with cold sweat. Yes, the two responded loudly in unison without raising their heads. The King of the Universe is in a mess. After hearing what the King of the Universe said, Whis covered his mouth and smiled, and then complained to the King of the Universe, Master Beerus is more interested in food and sleep than destruction. Beerus sweated more when he heard this, and the ground was wet. He cursed Whis in his heart for being disloyal. Can such a thing be said in this occasion? Vados wiped the corners of his eyes with both hands, pretending to be aggrieved, and then said, Master Shangpa doesn't pay attention to his health, his body shape is out of shape, and he also complains that the food I cook is not delicious. It's really sad. Shangpa was also confused when he heard this. Don't you see that I can't protect myself now? You are adding fuel to the fire. You should not have saved me just now. After hearing the complaints from the two angels, the Omni King thought for a while and then said, why not change a god of destruction? There are many powerful people here. Beerus and Champa looked up suddenly, their eyes full of fear. The Omni King saw that the two seemed to be really scared, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised and said, it's just talk. Beerus and Champa were relieved immediately, as if they had survived a disaster. The Omni King smiled and looked at everyone, and said, I wanted to remind you today, but I watched the competition you held and felt it was very fun. So, next time, why not gather people from the 12 universes and compete together? What do you think? Beerus and Champa were terrified. It was not a good thing for the Omni King to hold a competition. At the end of the competition, several universes would definitely be unlucky. Ling Tian and the others watched silently, and even Sun Wukong, who always loved fighting, did not come forward to talk. The strength of themselves and others is now very strong. As long as the god of destruction does not use destructive energy, they can still deal with it easily. Facing the game of playing house, Sun Wukong obviously has no interest. If there is a game of the god of destruction, he might even participate. A minute later, the King of All stood there stupidly, not expecting that among the dozens of people present, no one responded to him. The two guards were angry and then scolded loudly. Are you all deaf? Did you not hear what the King of All said? Beerus and Champa were so scared that they lay on the ground again. Who dared to respond that they didn't hear it? You will cut off your ears. Since you are all silent, I will take it as your consent. The King of All said while walking towards Ling Tian's position with his short legs. Why is this eraser here? Ling Tian was completely confused. He had never met the Omni King. Could it be that the angels Mojito and Kes had discovered something? Did they go to the Omni King's palace to complain? The Omni King raised his oval head, his eyes shining, and looked at Ling Tian with desire. Ling Tian, do you know where my father is? Whis and Bardos were stunned. This Ling Tian actually had news about the great Omni King. The god of destruction and the king of the worlds were confused. The Omni King has a father. The Omni King is so powerful now, so his father's strength must be. Ling Tian was directly confused by the question. I have only traveled here for more than 10 years. Who should I ask if you ask me? Then he shook his head and responded, Lord All King, I have never seen your father. I don't know where your father is. Is that so? But the aura on you is very similar to the person who left with my father. The All King was in a very low mood and thought Ling Tian would have news about his father. Ling Tian became more and more confused as he listened, and kept thinking in his heart. The aura is very similar to Mr. Bobo's master. Are you kidding? A person who lives billions of years ago, you told me that his aura is very similar to mine. No, is Mr. Bobo's master also a time traveler? The All King looked at Ling Tian who was in a daze, and then pulled his clothes. Ling Tian noticed that someone was always pulling his clothes, and then he pulled them hard. Can't you see that I'm annoyed? Ling Tian looked down angrily and found that the All-King had not let go of the clothes in his hands, and the whole person was directly hung up. Why does this All-King always pull the corners of other people's clothes? I thought that person had nothing to do and deliberately came to disturb me. What fun. I'm flying. The King of All did not say anything to Ling Tian. He felt that his behavior was inappropriate, but he was very excited and smiled. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly, put the king down, and then said, Lord King, what's the matter with you? Ling Tian, do you want to go to the king's palace to play with me? Lord King, I have something to do, so I won't go. Ling Tian quickly refused the king. He didn't want to play those games with the king that were more childish than those played by kindergarten children. Xiangpa got up from the ground, pointed at Ling Tian and cursed again. You human, you dare to refuse Lord King. The king turned his head and stared at Xiangpa. Do you want to disappear? No, 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 Lord King, I will never dare to do it again. Xiangpa was so scared that he knelt down and begged for mercy. Ling Tian's mouth corners slightly raised, as if he thought of something fun, and then said to the king. Lord All-King, if you are bored, you can go play with this fat cat. Anyway, he has nothing to do every day, and he often goes to the 7th universe to look for Super Dragon Balls. Yes, this is a good idea. The All-King danced with excitement, and now he finally had someone to play with him. Ling Tian, you will be my good friend in the future, and you can call me Ah Quan like my father. Ling Tian smiled and nodded. When you are done with your work, you must come to the All-King's palace to find me. The All-King stretched out his 2 little hands, and the 2 guards understood and quickly returned to the All-King's side. One on the left and one on the right held the All-King's little hands. Farewell, Lord All-King. Barris and Champa bowed in unison. I will inform you about the competition, and Champa, remember to come to the All-King's palace to find me. Then, the 2 guards took the All-King and turned into a colorful stream of light and disappeared. As soon as the Omni-King left, Xiangpa quickly stood up from the ground and pointed at Ling Tian angrily. Ling Tian, do you want to kill me? Fat cat, if you point again, I will chop off your cat hand. Brawly and others heard this, walked out of the crowd and surrounded Xiangpa. Xiangpa was surrounded by people, sweating profusely, and his legs kept shaking. Why can't I control my stinky mouth? I'm going to be finished again. Alas, the old Kai sighed, this Xiangpa really forgot the pain after the scar healed. Whis looked at Beerus with a very ugly face. He didn't want Lord Beerus to go up and get beaten, and then spoke. Ling Tian, you have all taken revenge, let's forget it this time. Lord Xiangpa has to go to the Omni-King Palace later. Faced with Whis's request, Ling Tian hesitated for a moment and agreed. HMPH. Fat cat, you're lucky. Cell snorted. Uncle Ling Tian, let's summon Shenlong. I haven't seen what a Super Shenlong looks like. Godin's eyes lit up. A Dragon Ball the size of a planet, how big a Shenlong would it be able to summon? The 2 of them were so busy that they had to wait for the next day. Ling Tian rubbed Sun Wuxian's crab head and said, Wuxian, do you have any wishes to fulfill? Uncle Ling Tian, I don't have any wishes. I just want to see what Super Shenlong looks like. After Ling Tian looked around, he found that Xiangpa had not left with the people of the 6th universe. Did he want to snatch the wishes? At this time, Gabe ran to Vegeta with excitement. Master, I didn't expect to see you again. Master. The Saiyans participating in the 6th universe were stunned. They had heard from Gabe long before that it was people from other universes who taught him how to transform into a Super Saiyan. I didn't expect it to be these people. They are so powerful, they even dare to fight the god of destruction. Vegeta pushed away Cab, who came forward and said angrily. You useless guy. Don't call me master. You have been practicing for so long but your strength is still so low. You have brought shame to the Saiyans. Sun Wukong stepped forward to smooth things over. Vegeta, don't be like this. You just showed Cab the transformation of Super Saiyan, and he can practice to Super Saiyan 3, which is already amazing. Humph. Vegeta crossed his hands in front of his chest, snorted coldly, and said nothing more. Cab looked at Vegeta with a firm face and said, Master, I will definitely work hard to practice in the future. Ling Tian yawned and said to Whis on the side. Whis, Please protect Bulma and the others, we are summoning the super dragon. Whis smiled and nodded, took out the staff and waved it, and everyone was wrapped in a stream of energy, and their bodies slowly left the ground and flew into the universe. In the blink of an eye, everyone appeared in the universe, and 7 Dragon Balls the size of planets surrounded each other, emitting dazzling light. Come out, Shenlong, make my wish come true. When Frieza and Tejma were training in the Spirit Time Room, they had already learned how to summon the Earth Shenlong and Namek Shenlong. Frieza, are you going to make me laugh to death? Vegeta laughed while holding his stomach. This was not the Earth Shenlong. Sun Wukong got out of the crowd. Frieza, what wish do you want to fulfill? This. How could I tell you about my wish to grow taller? If you knew, I would still. Ling Tian saw Frieza's idea at a glance. Since you want to grow taller so much, I will satisfy you once, and then said. Frieza, you can use the Dragon Ball on Earth once. It's a waste to use this Dragon Ball to fulfill such an insignificant wish. Frieza nodded when he heard this. He didn't know the language to summon this dragon, so he had to give up. He hoped that Ling Tian would not lie to him. Goku, think about what wish you want to fulfill. Ling Tian said and began to summon the Super Shenlong. Come out, Dragon of God, fulfill my wish, I want to send it. The language of God. Uncle Ling Tian, what language are you talking about? Trunks was confused. This doesn't sound like the language of Namek. Ling Tian smiled and explained. Trunks, this is the language of God. The Super Shenlong can only be summoned and fulfilled with the language of God. Everyone complained. What a hassle. That's right. If you find a Dragon Ball but don't know the language of God, it's a waste of time. The 7 Dragon Balls as big as planets resonated with each other, emitting a dazzling golden light. Swish. A strong light flashed, and the entire universe began to shake. A violent storm spread from the center of the Dragon Ball to all directions, blowing away the nearby sun, moon, and stars. Seeing this, Whis and Bardos took out their staffs and waved them. A huge protective shield appeared instantly, protecting everyone. Will this be okay? It feels a bit bad. Everyone was shocked by the scene in front of them. The dragon had not been summoned yet and it had caused such a big commotion. Cell crossed his hands on his chest and said lightly. It's a small scene, don't panic. Piccolo looked at Cell with a calm face and asked. Cell, have you seen the Super Dragon before? Of course. Before Cell finished speaking, the light emitted by the 7 Dragon Balls became brighter and brighter. Everyone had no choice but to raise their arms to block their own. In front of his eyes. After dozens of seconds, the light gradually faded. Everyone slowly put down their arms, and what came into view was a golden creature with a huge body that could not be seen at the end. The golden creature suddenly opened his eyes and roared to the sky. One eye is bigger than a planet. Cell, will you really be okay? Sun Wukong and others were still very worried, this was really incredible. The Super Shenlong waved its giant wings and soared in the universe. Its mouth slowly opened and swallowed countless planets and galaxies into its belly. It's over. We were swallowed by the dragon. Krillin exclaimed. Master, we can't get out. Gabe looked worried. Don't make a fuss. Cell calmly explained to everyone. After the Super Shenlong is summoned, it will swallow the summoner into its body, and then it will transform its own consciousness into its body to fulfill the summoner's wish. Ling Tian said. What Cell said is right. A golden dragon exactly like the one before appeared in front of everyone, but it was much smaller. Trunks and Son Goten said with shining eyes. Uncle Ling Tian, this dragon is so domineering. Yes, this dragon is so handsome. I really want to ride on it. Super Shenlong's eyes glowed red and said, the one who collected all the Dragon Balls. Tell me your wish. I will fulfill any wish. The language of God. Ling Tian looked at the shocked people and said, Wukong, have you thought about what wish to fulfill? Ah, Ling Tian, I don't have any wish to fulfill. Son Goku shook his head. Ling Tian turned his head and looked at the others. Piccolo, Cell, Krillin, Yamcha, and others said that they had no wishes. If you don't have any wishes, why not give them to me? Champa's voice reached everyone's ears. Everyone turned around and walked towards Champa upon hearing this. The crowd on the other side of Champa who was coming aggressively immediately gave in. I was just talking casually. You guys continue. You guys continue. Ling Tian pointed at Champa angrily and shouted. Fat cat, if you make trouble again, you will be in trouble. Ling Tian, since they don't have any wishes, why don't you wish for a shuttle cube for Bulma? Vegeta suggested. As soon as this was said, everyone present was stunned. Bulma covered her red face and ran to the side. If you don't have any wishes, then make this wish come true. Ling Tian said as he was about to make a wish to Super Shenlong. Ling Tian, wait a minute. Beerus suddenly stopped Ling Tian. Whis, take out a shuttle cube for Bulma, and give me this wish. Okay, Lord Beerus. Whis nodded with a smile. Ling Tian smiled and shook his head, and quickly rejected Beerus. That won't work. I want to wish for one shuttle cube per person. If you can take out so many shuttle cubes, then the wish will be given to you. Beerus waved his hand after hearing this. He didn't have so many shuttle cubes. Ling Tian, this is God's means of transportation, too many is not good. Old Kai quickly stopped Ling Tian. The old man was very happy. Old Kai, don't worry about it. We won't do anything bad with the shuttle cubes. Ling Tian said and made a wish to Super Shenlong again. Super Shenlong, please give me 20 shuttle cubes. The language of God. This wish is very simple. The language of God. Super Shenlong's eyes lit up, and shuttle cubes appeared in front of Ling Tian and others. Whoever wants it, go and get it. You don't have to take a spaceship to play in the universe anymore. Sun Wukong and others were excited, and each of them took a shuttle cube. Ling Tian looked at the envious people and said, Krillin, you guys go get a shuttle cube too. Ling Tian, thank you. After thanking them, everyone also got a shuttle cube. 10 seconds later, Ling Tian, this dragon is not right. Shalu pointed at the motionless super dragon and exclaimed. Everyone looked up and found that the super dragon did not leave after fulfilling its wish. Super dragon, do you have anything else to say? The language of God. Ling Tian was puzzled. Was this dragon poisoned? Why didn't it move? What was shocking was that the super dragon did not speak in the language of God this time, but in the language of humans. Ling Tian, Lord Salama has something to ask you. I hope you can go to the Dragon God realm as soon as possible. Okay, I will go to the Dragon God realm in a while. Ling Tian nodded in response. Upon hearing this, the super dragon turned into 7 planet-sized dragon balls and flew towards the 2 universes. Dragon God Salama, Whis and Bardos were shocked. They had never thought that Ling Tian and the others even knew Dragon God Salama. It was rumored that the Dragon God realm was not accessible to ordinary people. None of the 12 angels had been to the Dragon God realm. It seemed that they had to inform the high priest of this news. Whis, where is the Dragon God realm? Who is Dragon God Salama? Beerus and Champa were confused. After being the god of destruction for so long, this was the first time they had heard of it. Whis looked at Beerus with a serious face and then said, Beerus, you don't need to care about this matter, and you don't need to know about it. Looking at Whis with such a serious expression, Beerus couldn't continue to ask, and could only nod helplessly. Champa was about to speak when he was hit on the head by Bardos's staff. Champa covered the big bump on his head and didn't dare to say another word. Ling Tian looked ahead and found that there were still 4 shuttle cubes. Everyone had already taken them, so it was useless for him to take them. Then he said, Frieza, Tagma, Hit, and Gabe, each of you take one. Frieza was excited when he heard this. He thought he would not get one this time. Ling Tian warned Frieza, Frieza, don't do bad things with the shuttle cubes. Of course not. Although Frieza said this, he was actually thinking in his heart that when my strength exceeds yours, you can't control it. Ling Tian, thank you. After thanking him, Hit and Gabe also took the cubes. Master, can I find you to practice together in the future? Gabe asked. Vegeta pointed to Trunks in the distance with a proud look on his face. Whatever you want. Don't expect me to train you with your strength. You can't even beat my son now. Quote. Although you taught us the transformation of Saiyans, you can't look down on us like this. Caulifla said as she was about to teach Vegeta a lesson, completely forgetting the scene of Vegeta beating Champa. Humph. Vegeta snorted coldly. It's not that I look down on you. You are really too weak. Trunks understood and released all his aura, transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, and stood in front of Vegeta. You have to beat me first before you can challenge my father. Trunks cooperated perfectly with Vegeta and pretended to be cool. Kale grabbed Caulifla. She didn't want her sister to go up and get beaten. Kaioshin Fua suddenly walked out of the crowd. Although Champa and Lingtian and others had a bad relationship, in order to enhance the strength of his own universe, Kaioshin Fua still asked, Lingtian, can you teach the Super Saiyan Blue transformation method to Gabe and others? Quote, there are 2 types of transformations in the next stage. The first one is to transform into a golden giant ape and regain sanity before transforming into a Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 4, but needs a tail. The second type requires 6 Saiyans with a heart of justice, and focuses the light of their hearts of justice on one of them. After absorbing the light of the 5 people, it will become a Super Saiyan God, that is, Super Saiyan Red. Ling Tian said and showed the transformation of Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan Red to King Kai Fua. That Super Saiyan Blue is an advanced version of Super Saiyan Red, and you can achieve it by practicing hard. Ling Tian, thank you very much. King Kai Fua bowed to Ling Tian and thanked him. It seems that Ling Tian and others only have a problem with Pa. King Kai, you are too polite. Ling Tian stretched out his hands and helped King Kai Fua up. Ling Tian, what is the transformation of yours that is very similar to Super Saiyan 3 and has white hair? King Shadara asked. Before Ling Tian responded, Vegeta said it first. That's Super Saiyan 5. Kakarot and I are so powerful now, but we still can't transform into Super Saiyan 5. Forget it. I will definitely transform into Super Saiyan 5, said Caulifla. After a brief exchange of greetings, Bardos spoke to the people in the 7th universe. Lord Beerus, Whis, since the game is over and the Super Dragon has been summoned, we'll take our leave first. Immediately afterwards, Bardos took out his staff and waved it. A shuttle cube appeared in front of everyone, and everyone in the 6th universe entered the shuttle cube one after another. Humph! Champa crossed his hands in front of his chest and snorted coldly. Originally, he wanted to say a few harsh words to save his face in the game held by Lord Omni King. However, when he saw that Caulifla and the others couldn't even beat a kid, he gave up the idea. It seemed that his universe had no chance to turn over, and his revenge would never be avenged. Swish! Bardos controlled the shuttle cube and disappeared in front of everyone as a stream of light. As everyone in the 6th universe left, Old Kai and Shin also said goodbye to everyone and teleported back to the Kaishin realm. Goku, hold on to me, I'll take you back to Earth. Everyone put their hands on Ling Tian's shoulders. Beerus, Whis, aren't you two going to Earth? Just as Beerus was about to put his hand on, he was pulled by Whis. Ling Tian, we have something else to do, we'll go to Earth next time. Ling Tian didn't say anything more after hearing this, and then teleported. Beerus yelled in dissatisfaction, Whis, what are you doing? I still want to go to Earth to taste delicious food. Beerus-sama, I have to go to the Lord High Priest, you fly back to the Destroyer God realm by yourself. Whis said, and turned into a colorful stream of light and flew towards the palace of the King of All. Whis originally wanted to send Beerus back to the Destroyer God realm, but looking at the angry Beerus, he thought about it and decided to forget it. Ah, Whis, you won't take me back. Beerus cursed Whis in his heart, and then slowly flew towards the location of the Destroyer God realm. The 7th universe Earth. Ling Tian led everyone to the balcony of Bulma's house. Trunks and Son Goten spoke. Uncle Ling Tian, your teleportation is so fast. It's back to Earth in a flash. Uncle Ling Tian, can you teach us? Trunks, Goten, you can't learn this, but your dad can also teleport, which one can you learn? Ling Tian's teleportation, Kaioshin version, as a system reward, how can he teach it? Goku and the others can teleport Yardless Star version, so there is no need to bother themselves. Okay then, Trunks and Son Goten nodded. To celebrate your victory in the game. Since everyone is here, let's hold a celebration party together. Bulma said and ordered the nanny. Everyone sighed. It's been a long time since we got together. Yeah, after the Cell games, we rarely met each other. I miss the childhood when we were all looking for Dragon Balls and adventures together. Ha ha ha, it took more than half a year to find a Dragon Ball before, but now it only takes a few minutes. Goku, why don't you go to Kame Island and look at my old bones? Grandpa came, we are practicing every day and forgot about it for a while. Teacher Wu Tian, we will definitely visit you often in the future. Swish. Ling Tian moved instantly and appeared on the heavenly temple on earth. Hi, Dandy. Ling Tian, it turns out to be you. Dandy greeted Ling Tian and asked, Ling Tian, aren't you guys going to participate in the competition? It's over just now, and everyone is back now. Ling Tian thought about it and decided to fulfill Frieza's wish. You can't fool the king. Then he said, Dandy, I want to use the Dragon Balls. No problem. Dandy ordered Mr. Popo on the side. Mr. Popo, go get the Dragon Balls out of the house. Yes, Lord God. Mr. Popo responded expressionlessly, then turned and walked into the house. Ling Tian, you are also surprised, right? Dandy said with a bright smile. Mr. Popo is really a kind and amiable person, without any airs of a master at all. Although I already know Mr. Popo's identity, I still live the same life as before every day. Ling Tian smiled and nodded. After a while, Mr. Popo brought the 7 Dragon Balls over. Ling Tian took the Dragon Ball from Mr. Popo, said goodbye to the two, and then used teleportation. Swish. Ling Tian appeared on the balcony of Bulma's house, and everyone was celebrating for winning the universe competition. Hey, Frieza, I've got the Dragon Ball. Do you want to make a wish now? Frieza turned his head and looked. Ling Tian was holding 7 golden Dragon Balls in his hands. Frieza showed an unbelievable expression, thinking that Ling Tian was just talking, but he never thought that Ling Tian, this guy, really didn't lie to him. Krillin got up from the dining table and said angrily, Ling Tian, why did you give the Dragon Ball to Frieza? Little bald head, are you floating again? Frieza raised his right hand and opened his palm, making a gesture to scare Krillin. Krillin was about to respond that he had hair now and was not bald. However, seeing such a familiar action, Clinton was speechless. His back was instantly wet. He hurried to Sun Wukong's side, fearing that Frieza would give him another explosion. Wukong, save me. Sun Wukong patted Krillin on the shoulder and comforted him. Krillin, don't be afraid. We are here. Ho ho ho. Little bald head, don't be afraid. Frieza suddenly laughed and took the 7 Dragon Balls from Ling Tian. Yamcha suddenly said that the battle scene on Namek was still fresh in his memory. Frieza, are you going to fulfill your wish to grow 20 centimeters taller? Puff, haha. Bulma couldn't help laughing. At first glance, she found that Frieza was really short. Frieza was furious. The scarred face actually said the king's wish. Originally, I was still thinking about finding a reason to run farther to fulfill the wish, and leave the earth after fulfilling the wish. The next time they meet, Sun Wukong and others will think that he has grown taller after secondary growth, and such a perfect plan will all go down the drain. Yamcha is not as timid as Krillin. He believes that Ling Tian and others will definitely protect themselves. Facing the angry Frieza, he is not afraid. Scarface. Since the wish has been exposed, Frieza simply summoned the dragon directly. Come out, dragon. Fulfill my wish. 7 Dragon Balls slowly rose from Frieza's hands and floated in the air. The 7 Dragon Balls resonated with each other, emitting dazzling light. The originally clear sky suddenly became cloudy, like the night. The light dissipated, and the dragon was summoned. Shenlong's eyes glowed red as he said, the one who has collected all 7 Dragon Balls. Tell me your wish. I will make it come true no matter what it is. Frieza clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Shenlong, please let me grow 20 centimeters taller. No, I want to grow 30 centimeters taller. I didn't expect that Yamcha would be right. Everyone present was stunned. Is height really that important? Just laugh. See how I will mock you later. Frieza said in his heart. This wish is very simple. Shenlong's eyes sparkled, and a golden light enveloped Frieza's whole body. Everyone could only hear the crackling sound of bones reorganizing in the golden light. After 10 seconds, the light faded, and a brand new Frieza made a brilliant appearance, with a well-proportioned figure and a tall height. Those who didn't know would think that this person was Gyula. Krillin is over 1.5 meters tall, and Frieza's final form is a little taller than Krillin. Even if he is 1.6 meters tall, Shenlong made a wish of 30 centimeters, and now Frieza is already 1.9 meters tall. Your wish has been fulfilled. Please tell me your next wish. Wow, I've finally grown taller. Frieza laughed out loud, and his wish to grow taller which he had wanted to realize day and night, all the time, finally came true today. Frieza flashed and instantly appeared beside Vegeta and Son Goku. You two stop eating, stand up. Upon hearing this, Vegeta and Son Goku also put down the food in their hands and stood up, wanting to see what Frieza was up to. Looking at the two people standing up, Frieza's mouth corners slightly raised, and he quickly stretched out his hand to gesture the height of the two. Oh my, what should I do? You have to raise your heads when you talk to me next time. Ho ho ho. Frieza ran behind Ling Tian with a smile. With Vegeta's violent temper, he would definitely attack him soon. Frieza, you are looking for death. Sure enough, Vegeta exploded, transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, and rushed over. Chapter 91. The two of them were so busy that they had to wait for the next meal. Ling Tian slowly raised his right hand, caught Vegeta's fist, and then said, Vegeta, forget it. Trunks treated Frieza like this when Frieza was just resurrected. Even if you beat Frieza half to death now, his height will not return to its original state. Vegeta cursed angrily and turned to the dining table. The dragon in the air watched everyone playing and joking, completely ignoring him, and could only urge him again. Please tell me your next wish. I will fulfill any wish. Vegeta looked up at the dragon in the air, his mouth slightly raised, and then said loudly, Shenlong, please let me grow 40 centimeters taller. Ling Tian flashed and instantly appeared behind Vegeta, covering Vegeta's mouth with his hand. Vegeta burst into anger, broke free from Ling Tian's restraints, and said angrily, Ling Tian, what do you want to do? Ling Tian said lightly, not caring about the angry Vegeta. Vegeta, how many centimeters do you want to grow taller? Don't you want to ask Bulma's opinion? Being too tall is not good. Vegeta ran to ask Bulma as soon as he heard it. After Krillin glanced around, he found that everyone was taller than him, even the women present were half a head taller than him, only Jiaozi was shorter than him, and Jiaozi didn't care about height. Krillin's face suddenly became ugly, and then he stammered. Ling Tian, I also want to make a wish to Shenlong. Ling Tian rubbed his hair with both hands. Why do they all want to grow taller? If I had known, I would have taken Frieza to another place to fulfill his wish. Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, do you want to grow taller too? No need. Everyone shook their heads when they heard this, indicating that they didn't need it. After learning this news, Ling Tian was relieved. If everyone wanted to grow taller, then he could only destroy the Dragon Balls and no one would use them. I will make a wish when you are taller than me. This infinite loop will not be good. Everyone will become giants more than 10 meters tall in a while. Vegeta and Krillin also discussed it with their wives. They each made a wish to Shenlong to grow 20 centimeters taller. Krillin is more than 1.5 meters tall, and his height after making a wish is more than 1.7 meters. Vegeta is more than 1.6 meters tall, and his height after making a wish is more than 1.8 meters. Your wish has been fulfilled. Goodbye. Shenlong was also very helpless. What kind of wishes did everyone make? Then he turned into 7 stones and flew around the earth. Are you satisfied now? You can't make such wishes with Dragon Balls anymore. We know. After this episode, everyone returned to the table and celebrated. The Saiyans had a great appetite after fighting with Fat Cat. Bang, bang. The sound of bowls and chopsticks colliding was heard everywhere, and in the blink of an eye, plates of food were destroyed. Only Piccolo and Frieza seemed out of place. Piccolo drank a glass of boiled water quietly, while Frieza cut a steak very elegantly and shook a glass of red wine in his hand. An hour later, everyone was full and several people gathered together to chat about family matters. Ling Tian, the king and Tejima will leave first. Frieza grabbed Tejima who was half lying on the chair. Lord Frieza, are we going back to rebuild the Frieza army and sweep across the universe? Tagma was excited. This was his and Solb's wish, although Solb had already died. Frieza, I don't care whether you build an army or not, just don't come to Earth and Namek to make trouble. Ling Tian waved his hand, indicating that Frieza could leave. Ho ho ho, goodbye. Frieza took out the shuttle cube and flew into the universe with Tagma. Ling Tian, is it really okay to let Frieza leave like this? Krillin came forward. He didn't believe that Frieza wouldn't come to Earth to make trouble. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly, and then said, I don't have time to keep watching Frieza all the time, otherwise I'll call Frieza back, and Krillin, you will monitor Frieza's every move every day in the future. When these words came out, Clinton was panicked. I don't dare to look at Frieza. Ha ha ha, Yamcha said with a smile. Krillin, don't be afraid. HMPH. Yamcha, you just know how to laugh at me. Krillin. Lin snorted coldly and ran to Sun Wukong's side. Wukong, Broly, Cell and I will go to the Dragon God realm first to see what Dragon God Salama wants to see us for. I'll come back and tell you later. Ling Tian said and waved his hand, and a dimensional wall appeared in front of everyone. Okay, everyone nodded. Upon hearing this, Trunks and Sun Wukong threw away the toys in their hands and ran over quickly. Uncle Ling Tian, didn't you say you would take us to the Dragon God realm next time? Yes, I still remember it very clearly now. Goten, Trunks, you two should not go. The Dragon God realm is not fun. Sun Wuhan didn't want the two of them to go to the Dragon God realm. What if these two troublemakers went to the Dragon God realm and messed up? Thinking of the miserable situation of Frieza and Tajima before, he shuddered. Brother, you have been there many times, but Trunks and I haven't been there. I must go this time. Goten shook off Gohan's hand and ran behind Ling Tian. Gohan, it's okay, I'll watch over them. Ling Tian looked at Trunks and Goten helplessly. If he didn't take them with him, he couldn't leave either. Both of them were almost hanging on him. Gohan said seriously, okay then. When you two go to the Dragon God realm, don't make trouble. We know. Trunks and Goten nodded. Ling Tian walked into the dimensional wall with Broly, Cell, Goten and Trunks. Wukong, what is the Dragon God realm? Krillin asked. Goku quickly explained. The Dragon God realm is where all the dragons live. There are countless dragons there, and wishes can be fulfilled at will. There are also dragons that can make wishes with 2 Dragon Balls. How amazing. We also want to go and see it. Krillin and others heard this, and they were envious. What does the place with countless dragons look like? How big is the place where the dragons live? Countless wishes are waiting for me to make. Piccolo put down the water cup in his hand and quickly interrupted the fantasy of several people. Don't think about it. There are many powerful people in the Dragon God realm. Our current strength can't even beat the guards who guard the gate. We can't save you if you get into trouble. Forget it then. Goku and others are now strong enough to fight against the God of Destruction, who is the peak combat power of the universe. It's unbelievable that they can't beat a gatekeeper in the Dragon God realm. Dragon God realm. Ling Tian and others walked out of the dimensional wall, and what came into view was a huge palace. It's so beautiful. This palace is so big. Goten, look over there. There are so many dragons flying in the sky. Uncle Ling Tian, is this the Dragon God realm? Trunks and Son Goten were stunned by the scene in front of them. Yes, this is the Dragon God realm. The two of them were so busy that they had to face each other. Swoosh, accompanied by a sound of breaking wind, Long Yi flew out of the palace. Ling Tian, you are finally here. Lord Salama is waiting for you inside. Let's talk while we walk. Long Yi said as he led everyone into the palace. Uncle, is your dragon head real? Goten looked puzzled. It was the first time he saw a creature with a dragon head and a human body. Goten, don't you think this is handsome? Trunks' eyes lit up. Long Yi, children are ignorant, don't mind it. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly. Trunks and Goten were still so naughty. It's okay. Every time people come to the Dragon God realm, they are surprised to see our appearance. Long Yi didn't care about Trunks and Son Goten's unreasonableness. Long Yi, what exactly does Salama want to find us for? Ling Tian asked. I'm not sure either. Recently, the Super Dragon Balls in various time and space have been used frequently. It may be related to you. Lord Salama wants to find you to deal with it. Ling Tian was stunned when he heard this. Super Dragon Balls are used frequently. I have only used Super Dragon Balls twice. Trunks pointed to a dragon man guarding the palace with a weapon. Goten, look at the guard's weapon, it's so domineering. I want one too. Yes, Son Goten nodded in response. Little friends, if you like, I will give you one each later. Long Yi thought the two little guys were very interesting. Great, great, Trunks and Son Goten cheered. After Long Yi led everyone around the palace for a minute, they finally arrived inside the palace. On the throne sat a 3-meter tall, golden dragon man. He was extremely burly, with 2 golden horns on his head, very strong muscles, and exuded endless majesty and terrifying aura. Under the throne, there was another dragon man who looked very similar to Long Yi. He stood aside with his hands behind his back. Trunks and Sun Goten wanted to run up to take a look. Brawly and Cell hurried forward and grabbed the two. Don't make trouble, you two. Okay, Uncle Brawly. Trunks and Sun Goten nodded. Ling Tian, you are finally here. Sarama looked excited, slowly got up from the throne, and walked towards Ling Tian's position. Ling Tian smiled and said, Salama, has something happened? I can't help you with my strength. Salama chuckled and explained to everyone. It's not a big deal. However, recently many Super Dragon Balls in time and space have been used by a man named Zamasu. Moreover, the wish to realize is to exchange bodies with you guys. Ling Tian, there is only one you in all time and space, but there are Brawly and Cell in every time and space. That Zamasu can't replace your body, so he made a wish to exchange Brawly and Cell's body. I don't know what Zamasu is going to do. This matter is related to you, I think it's better to inform you. Zamasu, Cell exclaimed, and then said. Brawly, wasn't the man who fought with your father in the 10th universe last time also called Zamasu? Could it be him who did it? Brawly thought for a moment and responded. That person is indeed called Zamasu. However, he seems to be the candidate for the King of the Kai. Aren't the King of the Kai very kind? He shouldn't do such a thing. Cell shook his head helplessly, and the clue was broken just as he had a little clue. It seems that it is just a person with the same name. Zamasu, the troublemaker, still took action. I thought he would exchange the bodies of the contestants after the competition between the 6th and 7th universes. It seems that the strength of several people shocked Zamasu when he went to the 10th universe to fight Rumsey last time, so Zamasu simply implemented the previous plan in advance. After figuring out the situation, Ling Tian also explained to everyone. Cell, it's the same person. Don't be deceived by his identity as the candidate for the King of the Kai. That guy is a very insidious person. Cell was furious when he heard it. That guy, he dared to exchange my body with Brawly. Let's go and get rid of him now. Salamar laughed when he heard it, and then said, Ling Tian, I asked you to come this time because I want you to get rid of this Zamasu, who has been traveling through various time and space, various time periods, using the Super Dragon Balls to realize his wishes. If Zamasu continues to use the Super Dragon Balls endlessly, the Super Shenlong may also turn evil. At that time, various time and space may be destroyed by the evil dragon. Sun Wuxian was confused. His father had said before that the people in the Dragon God realm were very powerful, so how could they not be able to get rid of one person? Uncle, aren't you very powerful? Why don't you get rid of that Zamasu yourself? Ha ha ha. Sarama laughed loudly when he heard this, and then patiently explained to Trunks. Little friend, we can't go in and out of the Dragon God realm at will. Otherwise, when I first found Zamasu, I would have sent a guard out and killed him with a slap. Why would it be so troublesome? Why can't we go out? Trunks was very confused. It's so fun outside. Wouldn't it be boring to stay in one place all the time? Brawly rubbed Trunks's little head and said, Trunks, children don't need to know so much. Uncle Brawly, I know. Don't mess up my hair. Trunks broke free from Brawly's restraints and ran to Ling Tian's side. Are there many Zamas traveling through time and space to find the Super Dragon Balls? Ling Tian was a little confused. Did Zamasu gather all the Zamas from different time and space together? I'm not sure, because they all look the same. The information sent back by the Super Dragon is at least more than 10 Zamas. Salamar was also a little helpless. People from the Great King Universe and the Dark Demon Realm always like to make trouble. Ling Tian, you guys better hurry up and finish this. Sarama, we can only deal with Zamas in our own time and future time at most. We can't do anything about Zamas in other time and space. Ling Tian was completely confused. There were so many Zamas, and there were Zamas with time and space rings. He ran away during the battle, and he couldn't find him at all. It's useless to know the location of Zamas even if you have the function of traveling through time and space. Ah, Sarama sighed. It doesn't matter if you can't find him. Anyway, it's not my territory that was destroyed. Long Yi was furious. Although it was not his territory, the blackened super dragon was not easy to deal with. Then he asked Sarama to leave the dragon god realm once. My lord, since the great king left, his son has been doing nothing all day, and the people in the realm of time are also trash. No one who traveled through time and space can be caught. Otherwise, let me and Long go out to warn them. Long holding a weapon, also echoed. Sir, Long Yi is right. If we don't teach them a lesson, they will really think we are afraid of them. The king was in a hurry to get out of bed, and the king was in a hurry to get out of bed. Salama put his hands behind his back, turned to look at the throne, and fell into deep thought. Looking at the two angry people and Salama, who was constantly thinking. Ling Tian, Brawley and Cell suddenly had an ominous premonition in their hearts. If Long Yi and the others went out, there would definitely be a big fight. Trunks and Sun Goten were carefree. They ran to the side to look left and right, and sighed at the luxury of the palace. 3 minutes later, Salama also came back to his senses and turned to look at Ling Tian and others. Long Yi, Long you two can go out for a while. However, no large-scale fighting can occur. Just warn them casually. Yes, Long Yi and Long responded in unison. Long Yi and Long clasped their hands in the void, and a golden dragon patterned spear appeared in their hands. The spear head is a dragon head, the spear tip is a dragon tongue, the spear shaft is scaly, and the spear is a dragon tail. The spear body is shining with golden light, full of domineering. Ah, Ling Tian sighed, never expecting that Salama would really agree to the two of them entering and leaving the dragon god realm. Shalu patted Ling Tian on the shoulder and said with a smile. Ling Tian, don't worry about it. Anyway, we are not the ones who will suffer. We can just watch the show from the side. Ling Tian didn't think about it anymore after hearing this, and then said. Sarama, let's go back and deal with Zamasu, the troublemaker. Go. Sarama waved her hand, indicating that Ling Tian and others could leave, and then turned back to the throne. Ling Tian turned his head and shouted to Trunks and Sun Goten, who were playing in the distance. Trunks, Goten, you two come quickly, we are going back. Coming. Trunks and Sun Goten heard Ling Tian's call and ran over quickly. Wow, uncle, the weapon in your hand is so handsome. Uncle, can I have a spear exactly like yours? The two instantly fell in love with Long Yi and Long weapons. Okay, Long Yi nodded. He still remembered what he had promised the two just now. Then he waved his hand, and two golden balls of light suddenly appeared in the air. The dazzling light forced everyone to close their eyes. The golden light dissipated, and two mini dragon patterned spears were suspended in the air. Uncle, thank you. After Trunks and Goten bowed to express their gratitude, they picked up their spears and waved them with excitement. Okay, stop playing. Ling Tian waved his hand, and a dimensional wall appeared in front of everyone. After everyone said goodbye to the dragon god Salama, they entered the dimensional wall one after another. Long Yi and Long followed them. Earth of the 7th universe. Ling Tian, Brawley, Cell, Long Yi, Long Trunks and Goten passed through the dimensional wall and appeared on the balcony of Bulma's house. Feeling Ling Tian's breath, Goku and others immediately put down their work and turned their heads to look over. Long Yi, why are you here? Goku and others greeted them enthusiastically. Gohan was worried. Long Yi's strength was very strong. Even if he and others all attacked together, they could not survive one move. What happened? It can make two masters leave the dragon god realm. Yamcha came over from nowhere, hooked his arm around Long Yi's neck and said. Brother, you look so handsome. Pico's figure flashed, and he pulled Yamcha away directly, and then explained to everyone. Yamcha was sweating profusely when he heard it. Krillin and others were shocked. They just wanted to see what the people in the dragon god realm looked like, but they didn't expect that their dream would come true in just a few minutes. Son Gohan looked at the spears in the hands of Son Goten and Trunks and said. Goten, where did your spears come from? You didn't secretly take them from the dragon god realm. Brother, this uncle gave them to us. Trunks nodded and agreed. Brother Gohan, what Goten said must be right. Son Gohan still didn't believe it, and turned his head to look at Ling Tian. Gohan, it was really sent by Long Yi. Son Gohan didn't say anything more after hearing this. Uncle Ling Tian would not lie to him. Just when everyone gathered around the table, preparing to discuss what to do next. Swish, Swish, Old Kai, Kai Shin, and Jebet suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Old Kai, Kai, Sun Wukong and others. They all greeted each other. Old Kai, what's the matter with you? Ling Tian, who are they? I can feel that the divine power in their bodies is very pure, and their strength is very strong. Old Kai was puzzled. Why are there always masters around Ling Tian that he doesn't know? Old man, don't worry about who we are. Go to the palace of the King of All and inform that brat of the King of All to gather people from the 12 universes and the world of time. Ryuji didn't have any good feelings for the gods under the jurisdiction of the King of All. It's okay that they are weak, but they are useless. How dare you be so unreasonable to Old Kai and the King of All? Jebet, the iron-headed kid, was about to take action and wanted to teach Ryuji a lesson. Seeing this, Sun Wukong's figure flashed and grabbed Jebet. Don't go and die. Ling Tian immediately explained to Old Kai. These two are from the Dragon God realm. This time, they have something to do with the Omni King. You should go and inform them. Otherwise, a big war will break out. Cell looked at the unmoved Old Kai and said something. Old man, there is a candidate Kai who traveled through time and space and abused the Super Dragon Balls to make wishes, and exchanged bodies with Brawly and me. Now it has been discovered by Long Yi and the others. Do you know what the result will be if it is not handled properly? How could the candidate Kai do such a thing? Kai Shin and Jebet showed incredible expressions. Ling Tian looked at Long who looked impatient, and hurriedly urged the Old Kai. Old Kai, we won't lie to you, you should go to the Omni Palace to inform them first. I will take Long Yi and the others to the Omni Palace later. Okay, the Old Kai nodded. Things have completely exceeded his expectations, and now he can only go to the Omni Palace first. Kai, Shin Kai led Old Kai and Jebet to teleport. Ling Tian talked to Sun Wukong and others about Zamasu, the palace of the King of All. As soon as Old Kai, Shin Kai and Jebet appeared, they saw two people standing at the door. One of them was Whis, the angel of the 7th universe, and the other looked very similar to Whis, with light blue skin, white slicked back hair, purple eyes and purple lips. There was a light blue divine ring floating behind his head, and a belt with, big, printed on it around his waist. At this time, Whis was talking to another person with a respectful face. As if sensing someone coming, the two turned their heads to look. Why is Old Kai here? Whis was puzzled. Could it be that he didn't bring Beerus back to the Destroyer God realm, and he lost his temper and destroyed planets everywhere, and Old Kai couldn't stand it and came to complain? The Old Kai hurriedly led the Kai and Jebet to the man, and knelt down on the ground with a plop and saluted. High Priest. The Old Kai, the Kai and Jebet said in unison. The High Priest smiled and nodded, then said, all of you get up. The Old Kai and the others heard this and slowly got up from the ground. The old man was very worried. Old Kai, are you guys in trouble? You look so panicked. Whis was really afraid that Beerus would cause trouble. High Priest, Ling Tian brought two people from the Dragon God realm to Earth. It is said that a candidate Kai King God traveled through time and space, and used the Super Dragon Balls to make a wish to exchange their bodies. Whis had just told me that Ling Tian and others knew the Dragon God Salama, and I still don't know how to deal with this matter. Now, the gods under my jurisdiction dared to travel through time and space to exchange human bodies at will. Is the body of the gods not good enough? The High Priest was furious, and a cold voice came out of his mouth. Do you know which universe's candidate Kaioshin did it? The aura emitted by the High Priest frightened the old Kaioshin Shin, and Jebeto so much that they trembled. High Priest, Ling Tian and the others didn't say who did it. However, the two people from the Dragon God realm asked the Omni King to summon people from the 12 universes and the realm of time. Kaioshin added, High Priest, judging from the situation, more than one person should have used the Super Dragon Balls to make a wish to exchange Ling Tian and the others' bodies. Ling Tian and the others will come to the Omni King Palace soon. After hearing this, the High Priest's face instantly turned gloomy. Weiss, notify the various universes first and let them get ready. I will summon them to the Omni King Palace in a while. By the way, everyone from the Kaioshin realm must be present, even if it's just one follower. The High Priest said as he walked towards the inside of the Omni King Palace. Yes. Weiss immediately picked up the staff and began to contact the angels from various universes. Old Lord, the High Priest looks very bad. Will something serious happen soon? King God Shin looked worried. The old King God slapped King God Shin on the back of his head and scolded him. This is not your business. Don't talk nonsense later. Yes, yes, yes. King God Shin nodded in response. By the way, you, the young man, why don't you go and take over Beerus' dead cat? Okay, old lord. King God Shin quickly performed teleportation. The sixth universe destroyed the divine world. Vados, I'm so tired. Changpa collapsed to the ground panting and said dissatisfiedly. Lord Shangpa, it seems that you still lack exercise. Vados covered his mouth and laughed. When sending Gabe and his group back to their own planet, Lord Shangpa had made full preparations for the next competition held by Lord Omni King. In order to restore his previous image, he spoke to the contestants in a nice voice and sent them off all the way. Suddenly, the staff in Bardos's hand shone. Weiss, what's the matter with you? Vados looked puzzled. Didn't they just separate not long ago? Sister, I'm in the palace of the Omni King now. The High Priest will summon you later. Everyone in the Kaioshan realm must be present. Looking at the serious face of Weiss, Bardos had an ominous premonition. Weiss, did something big happen? Sister, you should prepare first. I still have to contact other universes. Weiss said and hung up the call and started to contact the next angel. Bardos, Weiss, are you asking me to go play with the Lord of all? Shangpa showed a look of despair. Bardos hit Shangpa's head with a staff. Lord Shangpa, the High Priest wants to see us, so get ready. The eighth universe's destroyer god realm. A three-tailed yellow fox wearing the God of Destruction costume was half lying on a very old chair, and a young man holding a staff was standing next to him. At this time, the man holding the staff was reporting the work situation to the fox God of Destruction. Lord Ligier, you should go to destroy the planet today. Korin, then you should get ready first. Okay, Lord Ligier. Angel Korin smiled with satisfaction and started to get busy. His own God of Destruction was not like the God of Destruction of his brother Weiss, who was lazy and gluttonous. With the perfect cooperation between Lord Ligier and King Kairu, the universe was well managed and every day was very easy. Angel Korin's staff suddenly glowed. Brother Weiss, it turned out to be you. What's the matter with you? Angel Korin was a little surprised. He was still thinking about Weiss just now, and Weiss contacted him. Brother Korin, I'm in the palace of the King of all kings now. The High Priest will summon you soon. Everyone in the Kaioshan realm must be present. Weiss, has something big happened? God Korin was a little confused. The High Priest summoned everyone, and at most only the God of Destruction and the Kaioshan would be present. Why did everyone in the Kaioshan realm have to go this time? Brother Korin, you guys should get ready first. I still have to contact people from other universes. When you come, the High Priest will tell you in person. After saying that, Weiss hung up the call. Earth Universe Earth. After listening to Ling Tian's explanation, everyone was furious and very angry. Uncle Ling Tian, that Zamasu is too abominable. Let's go and settle accounts with him now. Quote. Ling Tian, you shouldn't have asked me to be gentler last time, you should have killed that sinister candidate Kaioshan. Let's go to the 10th universe now. If that dead elephant dares to stop us, let him have a taste of the fat cat's treatment. Long Yi and Long Er were also a little shocked when they heard this. Ling Tian and his group were really brave. They dared to fight his subordinates in the territory of the Omni King. Okay, don't get excited first. Old Kaioshan, I have already notified the Omni King's palace. We can just go there directly in a while. That Zamasu should also be there. Ling Tian quickly calmed everyone's emotions. Ling Tian, can we go to the Omni King's palace with you? Krillin and others wanted to see where such a big shot as the Omni King lived. Ling Tian shook his head and quickly rejected Krillin and others' request. Krillin, you'd better not go. There will be a fight this time. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you guys later. Okay then. Krillin and the others nodded reluctantly. The scene of Ling Tian and the others beating up the God of Destruction Shangpa was still fresh in their memory. This time, the gods of destruction from the 12 universes will be present. The battle will definitely be very exciting. It's all because of my low strength. More than an hour passed before I knew it. Ling Tian, that old guy should have informed us, and we should go there too. Long Er suggested. Ling Tian was still a little worried and reminded them immediately. Long Yi, Long try not to do anything later. Long Yi and Long laughed when they heard this, and then said, Ling Tian, as long as no one messes with us, we are still willing to resolve this matter peacefully. Ling Tian, don't be afraid. The erasure technique of that little brat of the Omni King is useless to the people of the Dragon God realm and the Dark Demon realm. Quote, the Omni King's erasure technique is only effective for the universe under his jurisdiction. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly. Long Yi was still more reliable. Long was just like Goku, thinking about fighting. Catch me. Ling Tian took out the 12 universe information map from the storage ring and checked it. It turned out that the center of the 12 universes was the Omni King's palace. Everyone put their arms around each other and put them on Ling Tian's shoulders. The old man was in a hurry. Goku, you must be careful. Krillin looked worried. Krillin, we got it. Everyone responded. Ling Tian put the 12 universe information map into the storage ring, and found that Trunks and Son Goten had followed him. He did not stop them and immediately performed instant movement. The palace of the King of All. After listening to the report of the Grand Priest, the King of All lost his former playful smile and clenched his fists tightly. I don't know what he was thinking. After Whis notified them one by one, all the universes knew about the summons of the Grand Priest and prepared for it. Lord Beerus, please follow me, Whis said as he walked towards the interior of the Omni Palace, ready to report the situation to the Grand Priest. Beerus, Old Kai, Shin and Jebbet hurriedly followed. Seeing Whis and others coming in, the Omni immediately returned to his playful personality. Lord Omni, Whis smiled and greeted. Beerus bent his body 90 degrees to salute, and Old Kai, Shin and Jebbet knelt on the ground with a plop and saluted. Yes, the Omni nodded calmly and then said, all of you get up. Old Kai and others hurriedly got up upon hearing this and stood aside with a respectful look on their faces. Lord Grand Priest, I have notified all the universes. Whis hurriedly reported the situation. Okay, the High Priest responded, then picked up the staff and started talking to the angels of the 12 universes. After learning that everything was ready, the High Priest then used the ability of instant summoning. I saw that people from various universes appeared out of thin air in the palace of the Omni King. Dozens of people appeared at once, and the scene became chaotic. There was a lot of chattering, and people wanted to see if anyone knew what happened. Looking at the gloomy High Priest and the Omni King, Beerus knew that his chance to show off had come, and then he shouted loudly. Don't you know that this is the palace of the Omni King? How can you yell so loudly? Beerus' voice was clearly heard by everyone present, and everyone came back to their senses and saluted the Omni King and the High Priest. Yeah, the Omni King just nodded calmly. All of you get up. The High Priest then added, I don't want this to happen again next time. The people who had just stood up were so scared that they were sweating profusely, and they responded in unison. Yes, seeing their own god of destruction behaving so irrationally, the angels were also very helpless. Angel Kaze stepped forward and asked, I wonder what the High Priest wants us to do. Just when the High Priest was about to respond, a space crack suddenly appeared in the palace of the Omni King, and the Time World King God Kronoa rushed over with several time and space patrolmen who were not on duty. Kronoa, you haven't come to see me for a long time. The Omni King quickly stood up from the throne, ran to Kronoa, and took her little hand. Kronoa touched the Omni King's oval little head. Lord All King, what do you want me for? The High Priest will tell you in a moment, come and play with me. The All King dragged Kronoa to the throne and started playing marbles. The High Priest explained to everyone. The one playing with Lord All King is the Time Kai, and these people are her time and space patrolmen. The Time Kai and Lord All King have a really good relationship. The gods sighed. Goku, Vegeta, you two are great. You've become time and space patrolmen so quickly. Beerus was shocked. They had just separated not long ago, and these two guys had a new identity. Are you talking about us? GT Sun Wukong pointed at himself and GT Vegeta. Kakarot, ignore that cat, he must be crazy. We don't know him. GT Vegeta quickly stopped Kakarot from talking to him. How dare you two pretend not to know me? Beerus was furious and wanted to teach these two guys a lesson. Whis stopped Beerus and began to explain. Lord Beerus, these two are not the Son Goku and Vegeta of our universe. The time and space patrols are masters selected from various universes and time and space, and the probability of similar people appearing is very high. Quote. Ha ha ha. Quatera laughed while holding his stomach. Beerus, as the god of destruction of the seventh universe, you can even mistake people from your own universe. Naturally, the other gods of destruction would not miss the opportunity to laugh at Beerus. Beerus, are you still asleep? How could he not be awake? I think his brain was caught by the door. Beerus gnashed his teeth in anger and was about to argue with the crowd. Lord Beerus, forget it. Whis shook his head, indicating that the high priest was still watching. Dead rats, I'll let you go this time. Quote. After Beerus said this harsh word, he stood quietly aside. After hearing what was said, the other gods of destruction also restrained themselves. The high priest asked, Old Kai, did Ling Tian and the others say when they would come to the palace of the kings? Is there anyone else coming? All the gods of destruction and angels were very confused. Who is this Ling Tian? How dare he let the gods wait for him alone? When Sidera and Rumsey heard the word Ling Tian, their faces instantly turned gloomy, and then they said to Shangpa angrily. Shangpa, is that Ling Tian from your universe? Fat Cat, did you send them to mess up my universe? Sidera, Rumsey, what's wrong with you two? Ling Tian is not from the sixth universe. Quote. Shangpa was confused by the question. Did Ling Tian report his name after doing something bad? Sidela was furious. Shangpa still wanted to quibble and shirk responsibility. Shangpa, don't try to deny it. He has already said that you spent a lot of money to ask them to do it. Have you thought about how to compensate us? Kes, Mojito, what happened? Bados asked hurriedly. She didn't want to take Pa as a scapegoat. Kes and Mojito looked at each other, shook their heads helplessly, and then said. Lord Rumsey was beaten by the human named Ling Tian. Lord Sidela was also beaten by their group. Weiss covered his mouth and laughed. Ling Tian and the others were really restless. Don't slander me, you two. Ling Tian is from the Beerus universe, and I was beaten by him too. Quote. Shang Paso admitted that he was beaten too. Anyway, it won't be long before his heroic deeds will spread to the 12 universes. When these words came out, all the gods present were stunned. The three gods of destruction were beaten by the same group of people. Beerus, this guy, sleeps all day long. How can such a powerful human appear in the seventh universe? Sidera and Rumsey pointed at Beerus angrily and shouted. Beerus, it turns out that they are from your universe. Beerus looked at the two angry people and responded indifferently. I didn't instruct them to do it. If you want revenge, go find them yourself. I won't stop you. Just when everyone was arguing. Swish. Quote. Another large group of people suddenly appeared in front of everyone. They were Ling Tian, Long Yi, Long Broly, Cell, Paragus, Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo, Trunks and Son Goten. The two of them had a big hug. They hadn't seen each other for several years. Ling Tian, GT Sun Wukong and GT Vegeta were very excited. Every time they were on a mission, they would go to see someone with the same name as Ling Tian, but they always returned disappointed. Are you Wukong and Vegeta from GT Time and Space? Ling Tian gave the two a big hug. They hadn't seen each other for several years. How did you two become time and space patrolmen? Long Yi looked puzzled, because there was no benefit in being a time and space patrolman. GT Vegeta quickly explained to everyone. We left the Dragon God realm and returned to GT space time not long ago. The Time World King God Chronoa came to us. You also know that Kakarot and I can't sit still, so we simply joined the space-time patrol to see if there are any powerful opponents in other space-times. So that's how it is. Everyone gathered together and talked about their own experiences, completely ignoring the fact that this was the palace of the king of all. The high priest looked at Long Yi and Long holding weapons and his expression instantly became solemn. Originally, I thought that the Dragon God realm just sent two gatekeepers to solve this matter casually, but I never expected that it would be the two personal guards of the Dragon God Salama. Sidera and Rumsey saw Ling Tian was furious. Since being defeated by Ling Tian and others, he has been practicing hard every day. I don't know how many levels his strength has been improved. Today, he can finally take revenge. Sidera and Rumsey were overwhelmed by anger, bursting out all their breath. A purple aura came out of their bodies, and quickly rushed towards Ling Tian. Long Yi and Long looked at the two murderous people and thought they were looking for trouble. Lumsi, Sidera, what do you two want to do? Stop it now. The high priest looked at the two iron-headed kids and hurriedly stopped them. After hearing the high priest's voice, Lumsi and Sidera immediately came to their senses. What on earth were they doing just now? They actually did such unreasonable behavior in the palace of the whole king. Then they wanted to apologize to the high priest. Humph! Long snorted coldly and threw the dragon-patterned spear in his hand. Everything happened so quickly that before everyone could react, Lumsi and Sidera were pierced through the body by the dragon-patterned spear, spitting blood and falling to the ground. Sun Wukong and others were stunned. Long defeat of the bad god was as easy as killing a chicken. Old Kai, King Kai Shin and Jebet hid behind Whis secretly. It seemed that another big battle would happen soon, and the three of them didn't want to be in trouble. Ling Tian smiled bitterly and said, Ryuji, these two people are looking for me. Oh, is that so? Ryuji thought that the king of all wanted his subordinates to give him and Ryuji a warning. Ryuji didn't care and said indifferently, who cares who they are looking for? They are running over here with murderous intent, they must be going to fight. It's better to get rid of them as soon as possible. Lord Rumsey, Lord Sidera, Angels Kays and Mojito appeared beside the two people in an instant and began to treat their injuries. How is it possible? Angel Mojito couldn't believe that his and Kay's treatment had no effect on the two people. Seeing that Rumsey and Sidera were lying on the ground covered in blood, with only one breath left, the gods of destruction were very angry, and they all burst out with all their breath, and purple flames came out of their bodies. Although the relationship between the gods is not good and they often fight, if an outsider hurts one of the gods of destruction, the other gods of destruction will still avenge him. As the breath of the crowd continued to rise, a bow and arrow appeared in the hand of Hellas, the god of destruction of the second universe, and the three tails behind Ligier, the god of destruction of the eighth universe, slowly turned into 9 tails. Long waved his hand, and the dragon-patterned spear flew back to his hand from a distance, and then taunted. No matter how many ants come, the result will be the same. The faces of the gods of destruction were very ugly. In the past, they were the only ones who said this to others, but now they were mocked by someone who attacked them from behind. It is unforgivable. Chronoa stopped the game in her hand, looked up and said to the king of all with a serious face. Lord Omnipotent, won't you stop them? Chronoa, ignore them. Let's continue playing. The Omnipotent replied in a baby voice, still playing with marbles formed by planets in his hands. Lord Omnipotent, if the god of destruction goes up to fight with Long he will definitely be beaten to death like the two gods of destruction in front of him. Aren't you worried at all? Quote. The high priest looked at the god of destruction who was about to take action, chuckled, and then said, the man from the dragon god realm will not kill them, so it's just right to teach them a lesson and let them know that there are people who are better than you and there are better than you. High priest, you are absolutely right. The king of all clapped his hands and agreed with the high priest's statement. Chironoa shook her head helplessly, and could only hope that your king of all palace would not be destroyed by them in a while. Long held the dragon-patterned spear and hooked his fingers at the group of gods of destruction and taunted them. Hurry up and attack, are you looking for death? The 10 gods of destruction flashed and surrounded Long After Long glanced around, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Swish, swish, quote. Beerus and Quitla were the first to bear the brunt, waving their fists and launching a fierce attack on Ryuji. Bang, 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 how is it possible? Beerus and Quitla were completely stunned. They were the strongest gods of destruction in the 12 universes. How come their attacks had no effect at all? Just now, I thought that Rumsey and Sitara had lost their combat effectiveness due to the sneak attack of this dragon man, but now it seems that this is not the case at all. Then an ominous premonition came to my mind. This man is a master and I am going to be finished. Ryuji punched Quitla on the head and kicked Beerus in the abdomen. The two screamed and flew backwards. I don't know if Ryuji did it on purpose, but Beerus and Quitla hit a stone pillar in the palace of the king of all respectively. Boom, quote, accompanied by a loud bang, the 2 stone pillars supporting the palace of the king of all collapsed directly. A group of destroyers also reacted and realized that Long was a master. If they rushed directly, they would definitely have the same result as Beerus and Keitra. Then they prepared to launch a long-range attack. The destroyer god of the first universe, Iwan, and the destroyer god of the 10th universe, Waimai, soared into the sky. 5 star-like energy bombs appeared around Iwan's body. Waimai used chi to condense a large number of highly cutting cards. Star bomb. Energy flying card. With a loud shout, the two of them blasted the condensed energy towards Long-Er. HMPH. Long-Er snorted coldly, not caring about the incoming energy. Long Yi looked at Ling Tian and others behind him, and then waved his hand. A giant protective shield appeared instantly, protecting everyone. Boom. For a while, explosions were heard everywhere, and the palace of the King of All was filled with smoke. Where are the people? Quote, when the smoke cleared, Iwan and Waimai were unable to see Ryuji. The two of them were so angry that they had to face each other. That person is behind you too. Shangpa reminded loudly. At the moment of the energy explosion, Long-Er appeared behind the two of them, raised his left hand and gathered energy. Yi Wang and Wei Mei had just turned around when Long-Er's energy came and they were hit head-on. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the entire Quanwang Palace was shaking constantly. When the smoke dissipated, Yi Wang and Wei Mei turned into a piece of black charcoal, fell from the sky, and hit the ground heavily. After an explosion, the Quanwang Palace lost its former luxury and has now become dilapidated. This Long-Er is really not afraid of trouble. Long Yi shook his head helplessly. Long-Er protected Iwan and Waimai at the moment of the energy explosion, just to tear down the home of the King of All. Awesome. So awesome. Sun Wukong and Vegeta were excited. When would they have the strength of Long-Er? Then, Long-Er flashed and instantly appeared beside Shangpa, ready to pierce the fat cat with a dragon-patterned spear. Seeing this, Hellas, the god of destruction of the second universe, pulled up his bow and arrow, and the energy automatically gathered into arrows and shot at Long-Er. Interesting. Long-Er gave up attacking Shangpa directly, and his figure disappeared in a flash. What's going on? Shangpa was confused. He thought he was dead just now, but he didn't expect that this dragon man would let him go directly. He was secretly glad in his heart. Before Shangpa could be happy for long, Hellas's arrow had already shot over. Shangpa was unable to avoid it and was pierced through one arm by the arrow. Shangpa endured the severe pain, pulled out the arrow, and yelled at Hellas in dissatisfaction. Hellas, do you want to kill me? Hellas didn't care about the furious Shangpa, thinking that it must be Shangpa's own problem, and then spoke. Shangpa, that dragon man can dodge, why don't you dodge? I think you must be too fat and lack exercise, so your reaction is so slow. You dare to laugh at me for being fat, don't you see that you are as black as charcoal, you are the darkest in the 12 universes. Shangpa didn't tolerate Hellas, and scolded her. The more they talked, the angrier they got, and they didn't care about Long-Er who was standing beside them, and they started fighting directly. Ha ha ha. Long-Er looked at the performance of the two and laughed out loud. Good opportunity. Mosco of the third universe controlled the robot, and fired a laser beam from his eyes, attacking Long-Er. The god of destruction of the fifth universe, Urok, continuously condensed energy in his hands to form a red ball of light. After the ball of light was condensed, it split into 5 gas bombs and blasted towards Long-Er. Ligier of the 8th universe roared, and his 9 tails continuously fired energy bombs and attacked Long-Er. The god of destruction of the 12th universe, Jin, aimed both hands at Long-Er and continuously released energy bombs. You guys, dare to disturb me to watch the show. Long-Er's figure flashed, easily dodging all attacks, and instantly appeared on the right side of the crowd, throwing the dragon-patterned spear out casually. Mosco, Urok, Ligier and Jin just stood in a straight line, and the 4 of them were directly strung together by the dragon-patterned spears and nailed to the stone pillars on the side. In just a dozen seconds, all the gods of destruction lost their combat capabilities and were dying. How is it possible? The Kaioshin were stunned by Long-Er's strength. Where did this person come from? Goten and Trunks' eyes sparkled, and they held the mini-dragon patterned spear tightly in their right hands. Uncle Ryuji, you're awesome. I'll learn this trick in the future. The angels looked very gloomy, and their healing abilities were completely ineffective. They could only watch their own god of destruction suffer. Makurita wanted to go up and argue with Ryuji. The high priest panicked. Why are you going up? People in the dragon god realm don't care who you are, they'll just beat you up. Then, the high priest flashed and blocked Makurita. Makurita, go back first. Yes, high priest. Makurita nodded and returned to Waimai's side. The high priest looked at the dilapidated palace of the king of all and said helplessly. Long-er, that's enough. You should vent your anger, right? Long-er shook his head and looked down at the high priest. High priest, how about? Then you fight me, maybe I can vent my anger. Just when the high priest was thinking about whether to agree to Long-er, Long Yi spoke. Long-er, have you forgotten what Lord Salama said? Ha ha ha, I forgot it during a fight, what a trouble. Long-er laughed and said. High priest, let's talk about it next time. Now it's time to deal with the guy who used the Super Dragon Ball. The high priest nodded after hearing this, took out his staff and waved it, and healed the injuries of the 12 gods of destruction. After the gods of destruction recovered their injuries, they stared at Long-er angrily. Long-er looked at the people who were gritting their teeth in anger and laughed, then hooked his hand and mocked. What's wrong with you? Don't keep looking. Come over here if you want to fight. A few gods of destruction were so angry that they wanted to go up and fight again. Do you want to disappear? Quote, all the destroyers turned their heads to look. The king of all raised his little hand. The 12 destroyers were so scared that they broke out in cold sweats and fell to their knees on the ground. In the blink of an eye, the ground was soaked with the sweat of the destroyers. Long-er looked at the trembling destroyers and mocked them again. You are all trash. You dare not do anything like this. All the destroyers sneered in their hearts, you ignorant dragon man, keep scolding. See how you die later. But the king of all smiled lightly and said nonchalantly. High priest, please announce the matter of summoning everyone here today. How could this happen? All the destroyers were very puzzled. Why was the king of all so abnormal today? Shouldn't he wipe out the dragon man with a wave of his hand? Okay, the king of all. Quote, the high priest then told everyone. Today, the gods are summoned here because something big has happened. One of the alternate Kaioshin in the 12 universes uses the space-time ring to travel through time and space at will, and various time periods, looking for Super Dragon Balls to make a wish to exchange Ling Tian and others' bodies. How is it possible? As soon as this was said, the gods were stunned, and it was unbelievable that the alternate Kaioshin would do such a thing. The gods began to discuss which universe's alternate Kaioshin did it. Zamasu, who was standing in the corner, couldn't stop shaking. A month ago, Zamasu from other time and space found him and prepared to jointly implement the Human Zero plan. Zamasu from the main time and space had the same idea as several people, and then told them the news that Ling Tian and others defeated the god of destruction. Zamasu from other time and space was also stunned after hearing this news. I didn't expect that there was someone more powerful than Sun Wukong. He immediately went to other time and space to find Super Dragon Balls and made a wish to exchange Ling Tian and others' bodies. The plan was a perfect one, but it was not until the end. How could such a perfect plan be discovered? Zamasu was confused. He had more than a dozen helpers and had already swept through dozens of time and space. The god of destruction and the king of the worlds were killed before they could react. Once the god of destruction died, the angels would automatically fall into a deep sleep. There shouldn't be anyone who would tip them off. At which stage did the problem occur? Silence. With the high priest's light shout, the gods' discussions stopped instantly, and they stood aside with a respectful look, fearing that they would be the ones to suffer. Ling Tian, was it the candidate king of the worlds in that universe who used the Super Dragon Balls to exchange your bodies? Before Ling Tian could respond, Cell pointed at Zamasu who was hiding in the corner and shouted angrily. That's the insidious villain. Everyone looked in the direction Cell pointed. Anat, the Kai of the first universe, asked, Jivas, that person seems to be your disciple, right? Jivas, the Kai of the 10th universe, responded. That's right. Zamasu is indeed my disciple. Rumsey didn't believe that such a scum would appear in his universe. Cell, you came to my universe to make trouble, and now you want to slander the candidate Kai of my universe. I didn't expect this dead elephant to help me. Zamasu, who was standing in the corner, breathed a sigh of relief. If someone helped him, he would just deny it later. You are really troublesome. Why don't you just kill this Zamasu? Why are you talking so much nonsense to him? Ryuji looked at the people who were hesitating and was a little annoyed. His figure flashed and he instantly appeared in front of Zamasu, waving the dragon pattern spear and piercing Zamasu's heart. Why doesn't this guy play by the rules? Zamasu was stunned. What shocked everyone was that Zamasu was not dead. Just now, everyone had seen how powerful Ryuji was. He could make the god of destruction spit blood and fall to the ground with just one blow. How can a candidate Kyojin be more powerful than the god of destruction? Zamasu's body, which had been pierced, was slowly healing. Since the secret of his body had been discovered, Zamasu simply stopped pretending and pointed at Ling Tian and others and shouted. You humans, you only abuse violence and create wars. You dare to attack the gods. I will clean up all of you filthy creatures. As soon as these words came out, the gods looked extremely ugly. They had never expected that there would be a scum like Zamasu who had extreme thoughts among the gods. Humph! Ryuji snorted coldly, wielding the dragon pattern spear, and poked Zamasu into a hornet's nest. Ha ha ha! Zamasu laughed loudly without caring about the injuries on his body, and then mocked Long-Er. You can't kill me, I already have an immortal body. Oh, is that really the case? Long-Er waved his hand, and a golden ball of light wrapped around Zamasu. The light dissipated, and Zamasu didn't change at all. Everyone was very confused. What did Long-Er do just now? Ants are ants after all. Long-Er waved the dragon pattern spear through Zamasu's heart and nailed it to the pillar beside him. How is it possible? What did you do to me? Zamasu couldn't believe it. How could the immortal body he obtained by wishing for the super dragon yesterday suddenly become useless? Long Yi, what's going on? Ling Tian and others were also confused. Long Yi immediately explained to everyone. Ryuji is a dragon man transformed from a super dragon, equivalent to a super dragon with combat power. The power of miracles is still there. With a casual wave of his hand, Zamasu's immortal body is useless. Ling Tian and others were stunned. The transformed dragon man was so powerful. I didn't expect that he could make a wish during a fight. Who can resist such a power? Ha ha ha! Zamasu spit out blood and laughed loudly. What if you kill me? My companions have occupied dozens of time and space. It won't be long before they will descend on this time and space. By then, you will all die more than me. Zamasu died before he finished speaking. What? The gods never thought that Zamasu had helpers, and they had already occupied dozens of time and space. Ryuji took the opportunity to mock the gods again. You people in the Omni King universe are really useless. The time realm you established is just a decoration. In this way, it's not enough to catch the time traveler, but you don't even know that dozens of time and space have been occupied by others. Quote. GT Sun Wukong, GT Vegeta, I think you two should quit the time and space patrol. Otherwise. Long Yi looked at the gods with very ugly faces, and hurriedly stepped forward to stop Long-Er from continuing. This time, Long-Er and I are here to remind you that if the Super Dragon Balls are abused, you should know what the consequences will be. The king of all, the great priest, and Chronoa heard this, and their faces instantly became very ugly. When the great king of all was still there, everyone had heard of the horror of the super evil dragon, especially now that the defense ability of the universe is not as good as before. If a super evil dragon appears, a universe and time and space will be destroyed in an instant. Long Yi then said another sentence. King of all, great priest, I hope you can restrain your subordinates in the future. Lord Salama doesn't want similar things to happen again. Quote. The high priest responded with a serious face. Long Yi, please tell the dragon god Salama that we will definitely handle this matter well and will strictly restrain our subordinates. Long Yi nodded with satisfaction, then turned to Ling Tian and others and said. Ling Tian, our affairs have been handled, and it is time to return to the dragon god realm to report to Lord Salama. Ling Tian and others said goodbye to Long Yi and Long-Er. Long Yi waved his hand, and a huge space crack appeared in the palace of the king of all, and everyone could clearly hear the roar of dragons coming from inside. Long-Er, it's time for us to go. Long-Er's figure flashed, and the space crack that he entered with Long Yi closed with the entry of the two. As Long Yi and Long-Er left, a group of destroyer gods and king of the worlds couldn't help but complain. High priest, who were those two guys just now? Those two dragon people were too unreasonable to you and Lord of all. Quote. Lord All King, you should have wiped out those two dragon men just now. Are you teaching me how to do things? The All-King lost his old smile and raised his right hand. The gods were so scared that they were sweating coldly. They fell to their knees and begged for mercy. It seems that the lesson that Long taught you just now was not enough. The high priest shook his head helplessly, and then explained to everyone. The two just now were the personal guards of the dragon god Salama, and their strength is comparable to mine. What? As soon as these words came out, the gods present were stunned. Just now, the group of destroyers thought that Long Yi and Long were as powerful as angels, and they never thought that the two were so powerful. Lord High Priest, even if the two were as powerful as you, we should not show weakness like this. Makurita was very unwilling. Long mocked the gods like this, but he could still get away with it. The King of Dragons was killed, and the King of Dragons was killed. Makurita, the dragon god realm is not as simple as you think. You don't think that the dragon god Salama has only two personal guards like the Lord of all Kings. Isn't it? The gods became more and more confused as they listened. It is true that the dragon god Salama has two personal guards, but his palace is very large, and there are tens of thousands of ordinary guards inside the palace. The lowest ordinary guards are at the level of God of Destruction. Not to mention the evil dragons in the dragon god realm. There is no benefit in making enemies with them, do you understand? Besides, our universe was at fault in this matter. The gods nodded and said they understood. Beerus kept cursing Ling Tian and the others in his heart. They were a bunch of idiots. They knew that they were so powerful, but they didn't remind me. They actually let me go up and get beaten. After the high priest glanced around, he stared at Kessie and said, Kessie, you are the guide angel of the 10th universe. You didn't find such a scum in the 10th universe in time. Do you know your crime? Seeing that Kessie was about to be punished by the high priest, Rumsey and Gewaz fell to their knees and took all the blame on themselves. High priest, it's all my fault. The last time Ling Tian and the others appeared in the 10th universe, Zamasu had already exposed his true nature. I failed to destroy him in time, which led to a big mistake. High priest, it's all my fault. It's my fault that I didn't know people well. It's my fault that I accepted Zamasu as my apprentice. The high priest didn't want to really punish Kessie. Kessie was his daughter after all. Due to the rules of the Lord of the Omni, he could only do it. Looking at Rumsey and Gewaz kneeling on the ground, the corner of the high priest's mouth slightly raised. Since there are two scapegoats, it will be much easier to deal with. Kes, Rumsey, I punish you to repair the palace of the King of all. Do you have any objections? Kes and Rumsey quickly accepted the punishment. The high priest turned his head and asked Anat, the Kai King of the first universe. Anat, I heard that you have also accepted a new disciple recently. How is his performance? Has he learned all the knowledge of the King of the Kai? Anat stepped forward and pointed to a young man with pink skin and white punk hair behind him and said, High priest, this is my disciple Adiman. I have trained Adiman very well and he is fully capable of serving as the next King of the Kai. Good, very good. The high priest chuckled and then said to Gewaz kneeling on the ground. Gewaz, you didn't know people well and caused a disaster. From now on, you will not be the Kai King god of the 10th universe. Anat will take his disciples to take your place. Do you have any objections? Gewaz quickly accepted the punishment. Seeing that the high priest's affairs had been dealt with, Ling Tian stepped forward and said, High priest, Zamasu's and other time and space all have time and space rings. How should we solve it? The high priest also made arrangements after hearing this, ready to solve the matter in one fell swoop. Except for the 10th universe, the destroyer gods and angels of the other 11 universes, follow the time king god Kronoa to the time realm and solve Zamasu's affairs. Yes, the 11 angels and destroyer gods responded in unison. Kronoa, thank you for your trouble. Kronoa nodded, got up from the throne, touched the oval head of the Omni King, and said goodbye. Goodbye, Lord Omni King. Kronoa, you must come to see me often in the future. The Omni King held Kronoa's hand tightly, reluctant to let her go. Okay, Kronoa smiled and nodded, then waved her hand, and a huge space crack appeared in front of her. Ling Tian, we'll leave first. Goodbye. GT Sun Wukong and GT Vegeta said goodbye to everyone and followed the Time King of the world Kronoa into the dimensional wall. As everyone left, Only Ling Tian and others and a group of King of the Worlds were left in the Omni King's palace. The Omni King ran to Ling Tian's side. Ling Tian, come and play with me. Ling Tian smiled bitterly and quickly rejected the Omni King. Quan, I also have to deal with Zamasu's matter, you should find someone else to play with. Okay then. The Omni King was very disappointed. Chronoa left, and Ling Tian was leaving too. No one wants to play with him now. Quan, the Kaioshin showed disbelief. They didn't expect that this Ling Tian. Humans have such a good relationship with the Grand Master of the Omni, if he calls out, the consequences will be disastrous. Ling Tian waved his hand, and a dimensional wall appeared in front of him. Quan, we'll come to play with you next time. Okay. The Grand Master waved his little hand and said goodbye to Ling Tian and others. Ling Tian then took Broly, Cell, Paragus, Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo, Trunks and Son Goten into the dimensional wall. Oh, the High Priest was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that Ling Tian also had this special ability to travel. Future Trunks time and space. Ling Tian and others came out of the dimensional wall, and what came into view was a dilapidated city. How could this happen? Son Goku and others showed an incredible expression. Didn't they use the Dragon Ball to make a wish last time to restore the Earth? Bang! Boom! Suddenly, loud noises came from a distance. Uncle Ling Tian, there are people fighting over there. Let's go over and take a look. Ling Tian said as he flew into the air, heading towards the direction where the battle was breaking out. Sun Wukong and the others followed him. Swoosh! Swoosh! How is that possible? There were 4 people in black clothes in front of them. 2 of them looked exactly like Sun Wukong, but their aura and hair were rose red. The other 2 looked exactly like Broly, and the violent aura they exuded could be felt from a distance. Both Brolys had transformed into Super Saiyan 3, with long green hair down to their waists. Fighting against the 4 men in black were Trunks, Sun Wukong, Sun Gohan, Vegeta, and Piccolo from the future. Uncle Ling Tian, it seems that the 4 men in black are Zamasu who stole the body. Ah! Broly roared, his aura continued to rise, and violent energy continued to surge out. Above Broly's head, it suddenly became cloudy, and lightning fell from the sky, striking Broly's surroundings. Broly's black hair gradually turned silver-white, slowly growing until his waist, and silver-white hair grew on his chest and palms. He had a strong body and a long silver-white tail behind him. After Broly transformed into Super Saiyan 5, he rushed towards Black Broly without any hesitation. How dare you steal Broly's body? I won't forgive you. Paragus shouted and released all his aura. A blue aura appeared on his body, and his black hair gradually turned blue. A sacred aura enveloped his whole body. A dazzling light flashed, and Paragus successfully transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, with blue hair fluttering in the wind. Paragus was furious, and in an instant he appeared above Black Broly, punching him hard. Boom! Black Broly was blasted into the ground, and a large cloud of dust rose from the ground. The smoke cleared and a huge pit appeared on the ground. The smoke dissipated, and a huge pit appeared on the ground. Ah! Before Black Broly could get up, Broly, who came over, grabbed his head and pressed it to the ground and rubbed it. After a while, he plowed all over the planet, and then kicked Black Broly into the air. Then, Broly raised his right hand and condensed a giant energy ball. Vast Omega! Broly shouted and threw the condensed energy ball into the air. As the energy ball left Broly's hand, it continued to split into several gas bombs and attacked Black Broly. Black Broly was stunned by Broly. He didn't expect that someone else would appear on the battlefield. He was hit by the gas bomb in front of him. Bang! Boom! A series of violent explosions suddenly sounded, causing the people who were fighting to stop fighting and look in the direction of the explosion. The smoke dissipated, and Black Broly's clothes were tattered and he was suspended in the air with wounds all over his body. Ha ha ha! Black Broly didn't care about his injuries at all, but laughed out loud. That's right, that's the feeling. The power in my body is constantly increasing. Black Broly roared, his aura continued to increase, and violent energy continued to surge out. Black Broly also has the ability to grow with pain. What's going on? Black Goku and others were very confused. The humans and the gods of destruction in this time and space have been cleared by them. Now there is only one Earth left. They are planning to deal with the people on Earth and go to the next time and space to implement the Human Zero plan. Where did these two people come from? Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, Ling Tian also rushed over with everyone from the main time and space. Black Brawly saw a large group of people coming from a distance, and stopped entangled with Brawly, and quickly returned to Black Goku. Uncle Ling Tian, it's you. Future Trunks ran over excitedly. Trunks, I thought you were still practicing in the Dragon God realm. Ling Tian said. Uncle Ling Tian, Long Yi said that someone exchanged your bodies with Super Dragon Balls, and was afraid that something would happen to our time and space, so he sent us back. Future Trunks responded. Vegeta looked at his future self covered in wounds and couldn't help but mock him. Future Vegeta, it seems that you are not that good. You beat a pirated Kakarot like this. What are you talking about? Future Vegeta looked very ugly, and wanted to fix Vegeta from the main time and space. Let's deal with those who stole the body first, then talk about other things. Ling Tian stepped forward to stop the two from fighting, and then took out a handful of senzu beans from the storage ring and handed them to the people in the future time and space. Trunks, you guys eat a senzu bean first. The people in the future time and space took the senzu beans from Ling Tian, swallowed one, and the injuries on their bodies were instantly restored. Ha! The main time and space Vegeta shouted, and his black hair slowly grew longer and messy on his shoulders. Red hair slowly grew on his chest and palms, and the long tail behind him also turned red. The main time and space Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan 4. Look at me, all of you, and see how I deal with Kakarot. The main time and space Vegeta said and rushed to the position of Black Goku. Vegeta, that's not me. Sun Wukong in the main time and space was a little helpless. Humph, future Vegeta snorted coldly, and then said. He's just going to get beaten up. Those four dark men can become stronger through fighting. When they first appeared, I wanted to transform into Super Saiyan Blue and get rid of them all at once. Kakarot said to let him do it, and I thought it would be the same no matter who did it, so I just gave him the chance. Unexpectedly, Kakarot, that idiot, actually used the Super Saiyan 1 transformation to fight them, causing them to become stronger and stronger, and now their strength is comparable to ours. Future Sun Wukong scratched his head and grinned. Vegeta, this can't be blamed on me. Who knew they would have this ability? Uncle Ling Tian, my father is right. Let's go up and help. Future Trunks suggested. Ling Tian smiled and shook his head. Vegeta in the main time and space is not a waste. If the other three dark men don't help, it should be easy to get rid of a Black Goku. Trunks, the Vegeta of my time and space is very powerful. He can quickly get rid of a dark man. What? Future Vegeta heard this and showed an unbelievable expression. He had practiced in the Dragon God realm for several months, but still could not surpass him. Ling Tian patted the shoulder of future Vegeta and said. They have practiced in the Dragon God realm for more than 4 years. You can still catch up with them if you practice hard in the future. Future Sun Wukong and others nodded. Future Vegeta was thinking that after solving these 4 dark men, he would live in the Dragon God realm. When he surpassed the Vegeta of the main time and space, he would come out again. In the blink of an eye, Vegeta of the main time and space had come to Black Goku's side and waved his fist to hit him. Kakarot, you die. After hearing this, everyone turned their heads to look at Sun Wukong of the main time and space. What did you do to make Vegeta hate you so much? Black Goku number 1 was unmoved by the attack of Vegeta, and slowly raised his right hand, ready to take Vegeta's powerful fist. Ah! Black Goku number 1 screamed, and flew backwards in a shrimp shape. How is it possible? Black Goku number 2 was shocked. How could this Vegeta be so powerful? He was much stronger than the Vegeta who had just fought with him and others. Swish! The main time and space Vegeta flashed and instantly appeared above Black Goku number 1, hitting him with a heavy punch. Boom! Black Goku number 1's body fell uncontrollably from the air and hit the ground heavily. Immediately afterwards, the energy in the hands of the main time and space Vegeta continued to surge, and both hands kept releasing energy bombs to hit Black Goku number 1. Continuous energy bombs. Prince's tactics. Bang! Boom! Black Goku number 1, who fell to the ground, was swallowed by countless energy bombs before he could get up. Seeing that the situation was not good, Black Goku number 2 used his breath to transform an air sword on his right hand, and quickly rushed towards the direction of Vegeta in the main time and space, trying to save Black Goku number 1. Swish. Ling Tian found that this person actually wanted to attack from behind, and then he moved instantly and appeared next to Vegeta in the main time and space. He clenched his hands in the void, and a purple-red air sickle appeared in his hands, and then swung the air sickle towards Black Goku number 2. Seeing this, Black Goku number 2 hurriedly blocked with his air sword. With a bang, Black Goku number 2's air sword was directly split in half. How is it possible? Black Goku number 2 was shocked. Which time and space did these people come from, and why are they so powerful? Then, Ling Tian swung his sickle to attack again. Black Goku number 2 was very unwilling, but he had no choice but to put his hand on his forehead and teleport back to Black Broly. I'm sorry, brother, it's not that I don't want to save you. The two of them were so strong that they were so powerful. Vegeta said with disdain. Ling Tian, you don't have to come over. How could they sneak attack me? Ling Tian chuckled and shook his head helplessly. Vegeta was still so arrogant. So that person is Ling Tian. No wonder he is so strong. Black Goku and others didn't meet a master named Ling Tian even after searching for several time and space. According to Zamasu in the main time and space, Ling Tian's strength is stronger than Broly. I didn't expect it to be true. It's a pity that we can't use the Super Dragon Ball to exchange his body. Don't worry, we will get rid of him in a while. The two Black Broly looked at each other with a weird smile on their faces. The smoke cleared, and Black Goku number 1 collapsed in the deep pit. His clothes were tattered and his body was covered with wounds. You humans. Black Goku number 1 slowly got up from the ground and stared at Vegeta fiercely. You didn't die even after this. Ling Tian was a little shocked. He didn't expect Black Goku's ability to withstand beatings was so strong. Humph. The main time and space Vegeta snorted coldly, raised his right hand to condense a circular disc, and threw it at Black Goku number 1. See if you can survive this time. Seeing that the disc was about to hit, Black Goku number 1 put his hand on his forehead and performed instant movement, returning to Black Goku number 2. This won't work. There are still so many people on their side who haven't taken action yet. We have to use our ultimate move. Black Goku number 2 nodded when he heard this. Black Goku number 1 took off a Potara earring and handed it to Black Goku number 2. Black Goku number 2 took off the Potara earrings on his ears, and then put on the Potara earrings of Black Goku number 1. As soon as the earrings were put on, the two bodies moved uncontrollably towards each other. The moment the two bodies collided, a dazzling light appeared. The dazzling light forced everyone to close their eyes. When the light faded, the two Black Gokus became one person. Ling Tian, what's going on? Vegeta in the main time and space was confused. It was the first time he encountered such a situation. Ling Tian immediately explained. Vegeta, the two of them used the Potara earrings to merge, which is similar to your fusion technique. Both can give birth to powerful warriors. Vegeta in the main time and space looked ugly when he heard this. He knew the power of the fusion technique. It was all his fault that he was careless just now and let him run away. After completing the fusion, Black Goku was very inflated. Without transforming, he used instant movement and appeared next to Vegeta in the main time and space, waving his fist at him. Go to hell. Looking at the incoming fist, Vegeta quickly swung his right fist to resist. Bang! The two fists collided with each other, making a loud noise. Black Goku did not move at all, and Vegeta retreated dozens of meters. Black Goku's mouth corners slightly raised, and he quickly took advantage of the victory to pursue. Bang! 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 The two immediately started a fierce battle, fighting directly from the ground to midair. Black Goku directly resisted the attack, and every time Vegeta attacked, the pain grew and continued to increase his combat power. You guys can actually get stronger through fighting. Main time and space Vegeta was shocked. He didn't expect that the person who stole Kakarot's body would have such ability. You know, too late. Black Goku put his hands on his waist and gathered energy, and a black and purple energy ball appeared in his hands. Kameha. Seeing that the energy was about to hit, Vegeta gathered all the energy in his body into his hands and condensed a golden energy ball. Final flash. Boom. The two energies collided with each other, and for a while, it was impossible to tell who was the winner. Go to hell, Black Goku shouted, and his aura continued to rise. The Kamehameha became more powerful, and the Qigong wave continued to press towards the main space-time Vegeta. The main space-time Vegeta gave up resistance directly, put his hand on his forehead and performed instant movement, preparing to go to Kakarot for fusion. Although he didn't want to merge, this person was too difficult. The Kamehameha Qigong wave flew directly towards the direction of the universe without anyone blocking it. What's going on? Black Goku was completely stunned. How could this Vegeta teleport? He swept through several time and space. Seeing a Vegeta who can teleport, only Sun Wukong can teleport. Swish. The main time and space Vegeta returned to the crowd. Vegeta, how strong is that guy? Why did you come back suddenly? The main time and space Sun Wukong was very puzzled. Vegeta should not run away from the battlefield. The main time and space Vegeta gritted his teeth and said word by word. Kakarot, that guy is too strong after fusion, he can also continue to become stronger through fighting, let's fuse together. Everyone was stunned, and never expected Vegeta to ask for fusion. The main time and space Sun Wukong scratched his head and said with a smile. Vegeta, Future Trunks told us that you went to fight just now, so you don't know the Dark Man's ability. Kakarot, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and transform into Super Saiyan 4. The main space-time Vegeta kept urging Sun Wukong, he must make that pirated Kakarot pay the price. Okay, Sun Wukong shouted loudly, released all his breath, and transformed into Super Saiyan 4. Then, the main space-time Vegeta and Sun Wukong stood on the left and right, dancing a strange left-right symmetrical dance, and then the two stretched out their hands, one finger each facing each other. When the two fingers touched each other, a dazzling light suddenly appeared. The light dissipated, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta participated. The man was strong and sturdy, wearing the clothes of the Metamorians, with messy red hair draped over his shoulders, reddish-brown hair covering his chest and palms, and a long reddish-brown tail behind him. Super Saiyan 4 has black hair, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has red hair. After completing the fusion, Gogeta teleported and instantly appeared in front of Black Goku. Who are you? Black Goku just came back to his senses and did not see the scene of the two people merging. Gogeta said to Black Goku very confidently, I am neither Son Goku nor Vegeta, I am the one who will defeat you. Ha ha ha, Black Goku was directly laughed at, and then he exploded and transformed into Super Saiyan Rose. Gogeta said no more and launched a fierce attack on Black Goku. Bang, 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 loud noises came from the sky, and the shock waves of the two people's battle continued to spread around. Cracks appeared on the earth, buildings were constantly destroyed, volcanoes erupted, and magma flowed everywhere on the surface. Shua, Ling Tian returned to everyone in an instant. Uncle Ling Tian, the earth is about to be destroyed, and my mother is still on the earth. Future Trunks looked very ugly. Future Sun Wukong was also very unwilling. He was the only one who could teleport. He took away Chi-Chi and Bulma. What should Krillin and Master Roshi do? The two children were very happy. Trunks, don't worry. Ling Tian quickly comforted the people in the future time and space, and then said. Future Goku, take Trunks and Son Goten from the main time and space to transfer everyone. Trunks, Goten, use the shuttle cube to take everyone to the universe. Uncle Ling Tian, we got it. The two little guys nodded. That's great. Everyone in the future time and space cheered, but they didn't expect Ling Tian to have a way to deal with it. Future Goku then took Trunks and Son Goten to perform instant movement, ready to go to rescue everyone. On the other side, Gogeta and Black Goku started a fierce battle. The speed was getting faster and faster, and they fought directly from the earth to the universe. Is this all your strength? While speaking, Gogeta suddenly exerted his strength and punched Black Goku in the abdomen. Ah! Black Goku screamed, and flew backwards in a shrimp shape. Black Goku quickly stabilized his body in the air and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Just keep being arrogant, let's see how you die later. Black Goku could clearly feel that after the fusion, the pain growth increased his combat power several times more than before. He had to fight him slowly and it wouldn't take long for my strength to surpass him. Looking at the stunned Black Goku, Gogeta immediately condensed an energy ball in his hands and slowly raised it above his head. Star explosion, Gogeta shouted, and the condensed energy ball turned into several beams. Countless beams quickly attacked Black Goku like a laser rain. Black Goku saw that the energy was about to hit, and quickly used the energy to condense a protective shield on his body to resist the attack. As the beams fell on the protective shield, cracks continued to appear on the protective shield. How is it possible? Black Goku couldn't believe that the man in front of him had not used his full strength just now, and an ominous premonition came to his mind. With a bang, the protective shield was directly shattered, and the beams also fell on Black Goku's body. Bang, boom. For a while, explosions sounded everywhere, and thick smoke billowed out where Black Goku was. When the smoke dissipated, Black Goku's clothes were tattered and his body was covered with wounds. You human! Black Goku endured the pain and soared into the sky. His hands kept gathering energy, and the energy ball grew a little bit bigger. Vegeta didn't care about what Black Goku did, and even wanted to laugh. Go to hell! Black Goku shouted and threw a huge black energy ball at Vegeta. When the energy ball was about to come, Vegeta shouted and kicked the energy ball away with one foot. Boom! With a violent explosion, the energy ball exploded in the universe, and the shock wave of the explosion spread to the surroundings, and the planets were constantly destroyed wherever it went. Swish! Vegeta moved in an instant and appeared in front of Black Goku, waving his fists and attacking him non-stop. Swish! Swish! Accompanied by a burst of wind, Ling Tian and others and two Black Broly flew up from the earth. The two sides confronted each other and did not choose to fight. After a while, Trunks and Son Goten also used the shuttle cube to bring Chi-Chi and others from the future time and space to the universe. Shortly after everyone left the Earth exploded violently and completely disappeared in the universe. The Earth is gone. Everyone in the future time and space looked very depressed. A place where they had lived for decades and full of memories was destroyed in front of their eyes. Future Bulma shouted angrily at Vegeta, who was standing aside and watching the show. Vegeta, why are you still standing here stupidly? Hurry up and destroy those who destroyed our homeland. Future Vegeta gritted his teeth unwillingly and clenched his fists tightly. It was all because of his low strength. Future Sun Wukong saw Vegeta's dilemma and spoke immediately. Vegeta, let's merge too. Vegeta smiled and nodded. The two of them exploded and transformed into Super Blue, and a sacred breath enveloped their whole bodies. The two then danced the dance of the Medaka fusion technique. When their fingers touched each other, a strong light suddenly appeared. The light faded, and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta appeared. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta didn't say much. He released all his energy and quickly rushed towards Black Goku, who was fighting with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Comet Impact. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta punched Black Goku in the abdomen. Before Black Goku could stabilize his body, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's fist attacked again. Ah! Black Goku screamed and was blown away. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta gathered his strength into his right fist and chased after him. Bang! Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's fist hit Black Goku's chest heavily. Ah! Black Goku spit out blood and flew backwards again. How is it possible? Black Goku quickly stabilized his body in the air and looked at his slightly sunken chest in disbelief. Without waiting for Black Goku to think too much, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta appeared behind Black Goku in an instant and kicked Black Goku hard on the waist. Black Goku felt like his body was about to break in two. In the blink of an eye, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta also came to Black Goku's side and swung his fist at him. Ah! Ah! Facing the joint attack of the two, Black Goku had no ability to resist and could only let out painful wails. Although pain growth can increase one's combat effectiveness, he didn't know if his body could withstand the time when he surpassed the two. Black Broly, save me! Black Goku roared unwillingly. As a god, he couldn't beat these dirty humans, and he had to ask for help. It was really that Black Goku is such a waste. Although everyone was Zamasu after exchanging bodies, they still looked down on people who were weaker than themselves. After the two Black Broly complained, one of them flew towards the battle area with a burst of anger. Black Broly can't teleport. Swish, swish. Broly and Cell teleported and stood in front of the two Black Brolys. HMPH. Black Broly number 1 snorted coldly and then said, "It seems that we have to deal with these two guys who are in the way first." Black Broly number 2 pointed at Broly and said, "Don't underestimate them. I just fought with that guy and he is very powerful. I know, let's transform first. Otherwise, Black Goku will be beaten to death. Ha! The two black Brawlies shouted and released all their breath. The violent energy continued to surge out. The black hair turned into grass green and slowly grew until it reached the waist. The brow bone lowered and the eyebrows disappeared. The arrogance on the body turned into golden light. Several small lightnings surrounded the body. The two successfully transformed into Super Saiyan 3. Brawly and Cell looked at each other and began to transform. Hey! Ah! As the two roared, their auras continued to rise, violent energy continued to surge out, and the sky above their heads instantly became covered with dark clouds, and lightning fell from the sky and struck around them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.